On this episode of the DTVC podcast, Chris the Brain Kacvinsky from Bulletproof Action is back, and we are looking at Golden Dragon Silver Snake, so a little Brucesploitation for you. It's a really fun conversation there. As want to do, whether no matter who my guest is, right? We go on tangents, but funny enough, is towards the end, Chris and I go on a tangent about U.S. states, and we're kind of joking about which U.S. states we don't necessarily need. When we mention New Jersey as the Garden State, it brings us back to more conversation about the movie, which I don't know if that's ever happened with an end of the episode tangent before. So, but again, really fun conversation with Chris there. So stay tuned for that in just a bit. The next week, Todd Liebenow from Forgotten Filmcast is back, and we are looking at Strike Commando. Getting a little Reb Brown action in there. Also, he and I discuss Supergirl a little bit at the beginning of that episode because he'd been on before and talked about how he liked the Helen Slater one, so I had to get his opinion on the new one. And so we talked for a little bit about that. I was careful to see if we had any spoilers, but it doesn't look like we had any spoilers in the conversation. So, but I imagine, too, I'm realizing, like, by the time this episode comes out, if you're going to see Supergirl, you probably have already seen it or not. So, so anyway, that'll be next week's. Another good conversation there, so keep an eye out for that next week. Speaking of Supergirl, I know I was supposed to get a DTVC extra episode out on Supergirl this past weekend. The heat here in Philadelphia was just too bad. The office that I use for both my remote work with my full-time job and then also when I'm doing, podcasting, it's not air conditioned. And we had feels like temps in like around 117, I believe, on some of the days. It got to be really, really hot. And it just wasn't safe, I don't think. I don't know what I would have done if I had to work. So I took time off for 4th of July holiday. So I wasn't working at the time, but I was like maybe I can do it in the mornings, but I'd go out and run errands in the mornings just to kind of see, and it was just too hot. So we'll get it in this week. So I'll probably record it within the next couple days, and then I would probably say look for it probably this weekend. We'll put it up. And so the first half of that episode is going to be talking about Supergirl and probably a little bit also about Superman. I'm not going to do a full thing on Superman just because when we had Freddie Young on last year, around the time that movie came out, we did kind of a full half of the episode talking about Superman. So that's why I didn't do a DTVC extra on that. But that will come. I'll talk a little bit about that before we get into Supergirl. And then the second half of that episode, we'll talk a little bit about Mark and Sales. Because people have been reading that one lately and have reached out with some questions and everything. So I'll talk a little bit about that as well. So that'll be the second half of that DTVC extra episode. Again, look for that probably sometime this weekend. Speaking of this weekend, our next DTVC blog post is going to be on Trouble Man, the Michael J. White movie. So we're going to be getting him into the 30 Club officially. He was sort of technically put in the club when we did Exit Protocol 2 weeks ago, but now we'll officially get him in this weekend with Trouble Man. Now, last week's blog post was on Deadly Breed. So that was our PM Entertainment post for the month. That was our 60th PM Entertainment post. So we're going to keep chugging along there with getting, again, try to do 1 PM Entertainment post a month, but that was the one we had, Deadly Breed. So then we'll do Trouble Man next week. I think I'll probably do Champagne and Bullets in 2 weeks. We'll get that one up, finally get that one read. But I should point out, Hounds of War is finally available on Plex. So that's I would say the Penn most recent Isaac Florentine movie, right? Because he's got the new one out now, it's Hellfire with Dolph in it. But Hounds of War has been, I think it came out in 2024, and it's taken this long to finally hit a free streamer, but it is on Plex now. So I may watch that one. I may squeeze that one in before Champagne and Bullets. We'll see. We'll see what happens there. But at least for next week, or for this weekend, look for Trouble Man, Michael J. White film. And then in terms of my guest spots on other podcasts, I recorded with the PM Entertainment podcast. I'm not sure when that episode is going to come up, but that was on Hologram Man, which again, this week's guest here on the DTVC pod, Chris the Brain, he was with me on the Hologram Man episode talking with John about that film. Also, John interviewed Evan Laurie for that, so I can't wait to hear that interview as well. But keep an eye out for that. I may have made him have to do a little bit extra editing because I went on a tangent about the Art Bell program. I remember Art Bell from the late 90s, early 2000s. It's because in Hologram Man, it's Cal Corp is the company, Cal Corp. And I reminded me of Cal Korff, who was a UFO denier that used to be on Art Bell, and Art Bell hated him and gave him a hard time all the time. But anyway, so that may get cut out, it might be there, but I don't know. And I don't know how many people listening. I feel like there's a good overlap, right, between the DTVC podcast and late 90s, early 2000s Art Bell late at night listening to that radio show. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, so keep an eye out for that. And then, I guess as we're wrapping up the cold open here, as we're closing in on, we're passing the 5-minute mark, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about Mark and Sales. Again, check that out. You can get it on Kindle, Kindle Unlimited, and in paperback. Again, recent reads, recent feedback, right, on people who have read it recently. All positive. They really enjoyed it. And so, hey, it's there. People are enjoying it. So check it out. I have a feeling you'll enjoy it as well. And if you do read it and you enjoy it, let me know. I mean, if you read it and you don't enjoy it, let me know as well. I always appreciate that feedback too. Just reading it is something that I appreciate. So thank you again for that support as well. But why don't we wrap the cold open here? Have John from Miscellaneous Plumbing Fixtures playing our theme song, and then when we come back, Chris the Brain Kacvinsky is on, and we're going to be talking about Golden Dragon, Silver Snake. Hey everyone, welcome back to the DTVC podcast. As always, this is Matt here, and we are joined once again by a special guest. We've got Chris the Brain from Bulletproof Action. Welcome back, Chris.
Oh, Mr. Pear Tree, I am so happy to be back to talk about one of my favorites from a very peculiar and particular genre.
Yes, the Brucesploitation. So yeah, we had Mitch from the Video Vacuum on, however long ago, we talked about the dragon rises again, or the
Dragon lives again.
Dragon lives again. Yeah, see, I'm not good with these titles. I'm going to keep it. But so that was our one dabble in the world of Brucesploitation. But I know you're more familiar with that. I mean, I shouldn't say I'm not familiar with it, because I used to watch these movies as a kid, but I didn't really focus on who was who. I just, I was like, that guy looks kind of, it seems like they're making that guy look like Bruce Lee. But I know he's not Bruce Lee. But I mean, that's like a whole like subgenre in the Hong Kong world, is the clones of Bruce Lee in a way, I guess.
Many consider it the redheaded stepchild of the Kung Fu cinema. Because, it was, obviously taking advantage of a situation that arose when the tragic death of Bruce Lee. And there was a giant void of people wanting more Bruce Lee content. And you know what? There were plenty of companies ready to give it to him one way or another.
Right. And it was just a matter of like, okay, if you can brush the side of your nose with your thumb in just the right way, we've got a job for you.
Yeah. Make some cat sounds. Yeah.
Exactly.
You're in.
Yes. Now, one thing I wanted to mention about not just this movie, but I think these kind of movies in general, like when I was on your podcast, we talked about Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, and we were kind of all in agreement that that was a perfect movie. And, there's so many, movies that you can call perfect movies. I think these movies they're perfect in their own way, if that makes sense. Like you wouldn't compare it to a Last Crusade, but I wouldn't want to change these movies in any way.
No. And I think I've definitely gotten to that point in my brain where you have to justify things like that with the letterboxed, because if you're comparing Golden Dragon, Silver Snake to The Godfather, both of those shouldn't be very highly rated. One of them definitely should be.
Right.
But one of them should. But you know what? To me, it's like, no, we're looking at this movie amongst its peers. Where does it rank amongst its peers? Is it a 2, 3, 4, 5-star movie? I mean, this one would probably be about a 4 in my book, if not even 4.5. I don't know if I'd go full 5 on this, but it's up there for me as far as Brucesploitation movies, as far as old school Kung Fu movies. It's just so highly entertaining. and not quite as bizarre as the one you previously did, but it's still pretty bizarre at times.
Right. Yeah, this movie we're talking about today is not going to be a harbinger for the Avengers movies, right? Like it's not like let's put all these people together in one movie and see, right. This movie does not have we have no vampires in this movie. We don't have Dracula, we don't have Emmanuel, we don't have yeah, I was trying to
Mummies, killer
mummies.
mummies, yeah.
Right, exactly. So none of that, unfortunately. But this movie does make up for it, I think, and just kind of like you said, like the overall fun factor. Like, this is not a movie that I'm watching and being like, I've got to get through it. This is a movie that you're watching because you want the endorphins or the dopamine of just having a fun time.
Yeah, you're not watching the clock on this one. You're just
Yeah.
taking the ride, and when it stops, so be it. But you know what? Again, you're not counting down the minutes like, oh, how much longer do I have to watch this? No, this was it's a good time, and it's been a while since I got to watch it. So, it was a wonderful excuse to watch it again for this very podcast.
Yeah. Now I watched it on the Wu-Tang YouTube channel, but you have this on DVD, right?
I eventually watched it on the Wu Tang channel as
Right.
well, because yes, I do have it on DVD. It's part of a 10 movie collection known as Tough Guys of Kung Fu. And the copy of Golden Dragon Silver Snake on this collection is most definitely a TV version. And there's two reasons you know that. Because number one, they mute out one of my favorite parts of a kung fu movie, the bastards.
Right.
Uh, but about every 10 minutes, a voice from above comes over the thing, and it will be like, uh, end of segment one, out and back in, and double beeps. Like it's some kind of engineer, like they were mapping out where the commercials were. So I don't know what bizarre copy they found of this, but yeah, it's got like here's the commercial breaks. Here's where you take the breaks, and then we'll come back on the double beep. It is the most bizarre. I mean, and that's saying something because there's so many of weird things about these movies. I've got this oddball TV version on this collection. No, I've watched dozens and dozens. That's the only one that's ever had that. I don't understand.
I've never heard of it because I know like the old movies had the dot in the upper right that would blink and then you'd change the reel and it would blink
Right.
back. Because I remember Columbo, I think Columbo had to change the reels on one of his crime solving things. Because I think that was somebody's alibi was that they were in there changing the reels. So how could they commit the murder while they were changing the reels? And then he figured out the trick they did or whatever. But you watch those movies on TV as a kid, and you'd see the dot pop up and then come back. But yeah, I've never got like I've never thought about that there would be a TV copy that would have all that stuff in it, and there's somebody in a like in a at the TV station, yeah, just some intern on the weekend who had to do all that stuff.
And it's like, how did they get that? Like, I, and like there had to be another copy because you wouldn't have that on the air where you would hear that. So I don't know. I don't know. It's just so strange. But I mean, the first time because I think the first time I watched it probably was on the Wu Tang channel or maybe it was on Tubi. But then I'm like, oh no, I love it. Oh, this is on, and that's probably part of the reason I bought that collection. I'm like, oh, I love Golden Dragon Silver Snake. I absolutely want a copy of it. And here I get this nonsense, this absolute nonsense. But again, it's just another little gem for the collection. It's definitely one though that I hope gets the Game of Clones treatment. If in fact we get a volume 2 at some point from Severin, I certainly hope that Golden Dragon Silver Snake is in there. It seemed like that footage, there was some footage in the documentary. So I have to believe that Michael Worth did track down a copy. It just probably they, obviously didn't want to they couldn't put every movie on volume 1. They wanted to save some stuff. So I'm really hoping that's part of volume 2.
Yeah, I agree because this is such a fun time that like it belongs. This, I think of, I guess But so in the movie or in the opening credits, at least in the version I was watching on the Wu-Tang channel, Dragon Lee is credited
Yes.
also as Bruce Lai, like Lei.
Yeah, I don't know if that's supposed to just be Lee or Lay or Lie or
Yeah,
not low. That's the only thing I know. It's not low. But yeah, I would think it's Bruce Lee
yeah, but just
or
yeah,
Dragon Lee, just in case Dragon Lee or Bruce Lee for those in the know. I don't know.
yeah,
I
yeah.
just always call him Dragon Lee. It's
Yeah.
easier because all the others are Bruce.
Right. Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, for sure. And I mean, in terms of a Bruce Lee clone, so he's originally Korean, I believe, right? So is he the only is
I
he the
think
only
he's still Korean,
but
man.
yeah,
I don't think he could
he's
change.
always, yes, he's always been Korean. Yeah, but I think is he the only? I was gonna say he's originally North Korean. I think is what yeah, and I was like, yeah, he was at one time he was Korean, but now he's yeah he's changed that.
Now he's
Yeah.
Italian. We don't know how that happened, but
Right,
he is.
exactly. But I was trying to think like are any of the other Bruce Lee clones from Korea or are they all but I would have thought they were all been from Hong Kong, but
No, I think he is. I think he's the only one from Korea. I want to say Bruce Lee might be from Taiwan,
oh right, okay.
and then Bruce Lee was Hong Kong or China. But yeah, and then there's obviously other Bruce Leung, who was in the one you did, Dragon Lives Again. I think
Right,
he's also
yes.
from Hong Kong.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's some. I think there's a Filipino clone out there somewhere, or was, and
Oh right, yes. Yeah.
there's others out there. I mean, Tadashi Yamashita was Bronson Lee on
That's
some of
right.
those movies, so he was kind of a clone. He was kind of a double clone. He was like Charles Bronson and Bruce Lee merged together, which uh, the world is fortunate that never happened because that creation would be kicking everybody's ass still right now.
Right. Can you imagine if that was if that like if somebody like a beer Chevron or somebody like got a hold of like just try to remake Death Wish with just, yeah, with Bronson Lee.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, that would have been, yeah, those would have been all-time classics probably, I guess. Those would be, we'd be still be talking about those movies.
Right. Instead, we just have Bronzy. And whatever. You get what you pay for, I suppose. And I've
Yeah,
never paid for a Bronzy movie, so
no, but the bronzy thing is like recently. I usually get Head and Shoulders when I wash my hair. And I get like the two-in-one, the shampoo and the conditioner.
yes,
But
of course.
I was at the giant supermarket here in Philadelphia, and I was getting some other stuff, and I saw, oh, they had the store brand for $5, and
Yeah.
it was like my hair would just be all kind of flat, and it would stay wet longer and stuff like that. And I was just like, no, I essentially I got what I paid for. I got the bronzy. I needed to get the Bronson shampoo, and I got the bronzy shampoo.
And I have to correct myself because I did tell a lie there because I do remember picking up a DVD of Death Kiss at the Dollar Tree. So I've spent $1 or maybe $1.25. I don't remember what
The
time
tax.
frame this happened. Um, but I remember taking it up, and the lady's like, "Oh, Charles Bronson, I love." Wait a minute, that's not Charles Bronson. I'm like, yeah, no, it isn't. It isn't. But I'm gonna get it anyway, ma'am. I'm like, I was, shocked that there was a Bronson fan at the Dollar Tree,
Right,
other than
yes.
me.
Right. Yeah, that is, it's kind of crazy because it's like two things there. Like first you get the Bronson fan, but
Right.
then like there's no like then you have to explain to them like, yeah, I know this isn't Bronson, but I'm gonna get it anyway. It's almost like you waste the Bronson fan in a sense because like if you'd had like Death Wish there, you could have talked Bronson for a few minutes.
I sure could have. Or 3 hours. I mean, it really depends if there's people behind me or not in line.
Right.
I'm
Right.
not that type of person who's going to hold up the line, folks.
Right. Yeah, and I think we've seen these exposés of what it's like to work in the Dollar Tree. So I imagine the Dollar
Yeah.
Tree worker, they probably don't have a lot of time either, but you never know.
No.
Like yeah, they've got stacks of frozen goods that are hanging out in the aisles somewhere that they
Constantly. Constantly.
right.
There's always carts in the aisle.
Right.
Always.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. There's a certain point. The one here in Philadelphia, they've just kind of given up and they're just like, whatever's there is there. If you want to pick through it yourself and see if it rings up, that's fine.
Right.
We'll do that. Yeah. Now, one other thing about this movie, it is directed. Now, interestingly enough, at least the version that I watched, it said it was co-directed by, I think it's Shi Hyung Kim, um, and then later it has in big letters directed by Godfrey Ho.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, and I think this is your first time talking Godfrey Ho on our podcast as well. So I mean, I don't know if you partake in. I mean, I remember when you had the ninja list on Bulletproof Action, and I had to
Yes,
throw in a Godfrey Ho
you sure
ninja
did.
movie. I think I was the only one who felt that need to do that.
Yeah, yeah, Godfrey, and there's been talk about Godfrey Ho as well. Like maybe he didn't always direct these movies. Like his
Right.
name was on it, but he may have been
Yeah.
at like the racetrack or something. I've
Right.
heard those stories, so maybe that's why there's two directors listed. There's the actual director, and then the one that they're trying to sell because who didn't want a Godfrey Ho movie back in the day? But yeah, and I think I saw something. I mean, I saw a big Mike Leader had posted that it was Godfrey Ho's birthday as we're recording this. So then I
Oh,
looked at IMDb and it said his birthday's in November. But again, where information where Godfrey Ho is concerned, I don't know.
right. Right. Just ask Richard. What is it? Is it Richard Harrison? Is that his name? Yeah, because Richard
Yeah,
Harris is the actor who was in Strike Commando 2 and plenty of other great films. But Richard Harrison, who yeah, he thought he was going to make one ninja movie with Godfrey Ho, and little did he know how many ninja movies he would end up being in.
so many Gordon the Ninja movies out there.
Yeah.
Unforgettable.
And again, that's, Godfrey Ho. It's like, well, I directed this, and then, to your point, he's probably hanging out at the racetrack while he's got an intrepid editor who's like splicing it. I mean, just the idea of that, I think, is kind of fascinating. Of just like, oh, I'm gonna go to this sale of like these old like Thai and Hong Kong, Korean movies, and I'm just gonna buy these, and then I'm gonna tape Richard Harrison for like, I don't know, an hour's worth of footage. Or not even that much probably. And I'm just going to splice him together with all this stuff and make 20 movies and put them in the market because those American kids love those ninjas.
And they love Richard Harrison.
Right? Talking on a Garfield
And
phone.
yeah, the Garfield film. I mean, that's iconic.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing. And I guess this movie, to your point, like we don't know how much he directed this movie or not. It's just it has his name in very big letters. And it's like usually when there's two directors, right? It's like, co-directed by, and
Right.
but in this case it's co-directed. I actually rewound it back because I was like, did I miss Godfrey Ho? And I was like, no, I didn't miss it because it came up towards the end there.
Yeah. Ho's got the last word, the last credit. He's the man. And I don't, let's say he did direct this because it's just wonderful. And he's got the credit. We're giving him the credit for it. So sorry, other guy.
Right.
I'm you wrote it down. I didn't write his name down. I saw there was an action director as well.
Yes.
That's not surprising, but and there's a lot of action, a lot of not just typical kung fu action in this one too. So that was nice.
Yeah, it was interesting because I mean the movie starts with a fight, pretty much right away, which kind of sounds about right. But then like you were saying, I mean we get some boat foo in this.
Oh yeah,
You gotta love the boat foo. I was trying to think of some of the other types of foo that we get. Rickshaw. We don't quite get rickshaw foo. That was probably what we were missing. But yeah, I mean obviously baseball foo that's going to be coming
yeah.
later. Yeah.
There's a lot. Yeah, I mean that was another. When the baseball element, I'm like, oh, this was the perfect one to talk to you about
Right.
because you being the big baseball fan that you are. I mean, Dragon Lee. There's some teams that could use a Dragon Lee, I would imagine.
Oh yeah, yeah, and I'm trying to think when the first Japanese player was. I don't. It might have been Hideo Nomo, but I feel like there would have been some before that, but maybe not. But and for a while it was only pitchers. They only let pitchers come to America because they didn't think that the hitters could actually hit. And it's like and of course the, our character here is he's Korean. He's not Japanese, but now we've got Korean, Japanese, Taiwanese players in Major League Baseball. So, but in the '70s, yeah, there was a sense that like no, those leagues weren't any good. It was what was it? There's a Tom Selleck movie I think right where he goes to Japan and plays, or he's a manager maybe. That's what something like that. But it was that was kind of the thing was you'd go to Japan and play as opposed to the Japanese players coming here. But now,
Right.
the best player of all time possibly now, Shohei Ohtani, from Japan. And so, Dragon League, he had dreams of potentially being a baseball player himself, and unfortunately, he probably, never made it to America at least. But like you said,
Yeah.
there's teams that could have used him back then.
Yeah, baseball was not very, very good to him because he didn't have the opportunity to have it be good for him. So, but yeah, he does a great job here with his batting skills.
Yeah, there's a lot in this movie. There's a lot of stuff that happens. Maybe I don't know if I should if instead of doing if I start breaking it down, or should I do a synopsis and then we can just do like the best parts of it? I don't, yeah, it's hard to know with these movies, what the best way is. If it's better just to dive right in and go for it.
I think I think that's it.
Yeah.
That's what they do. They
They
just
just
dive right in and go for it.
right in. Well, because the
You think
movies,
there's that much planning involved in these films? Do you?
yeah, not when Godfrey Ho is hanging out at
I mean, the fights, yeah, but I mean, the story. There's like, let's just go. Like, oh, what's the story? Well, this happens, this happens, this happens. They fight at the end. All right, let's roll it. Roll.
exactly. Well, I do think even from an action directing standpoint, I almost feel like uh not quite like how PM where you get like Spiro Rosatos and his all kinds of Chad Stahelski, all those people or Colas McKay or whatever. They're just like in a room, may or maybe not doing nose candy or any other types of uppers of some sort, but they just kind of come up with all these crazy ideas for things that they want to do. It almost feels like in this movie, it's just like the action director was just kind of looking around at his surroundings and was like, oh well, there's stuff here that I could use, I guess. Well, yeah, why don't we do that? And we'll just yeah, as opposed to being like, let's jump a car and hope it hits that light pole or something like that.
Yeah, no, they do take advantage of their environment, and I think that's something obviously that Jackie Chan would become like the master of. But you see little sprinkles of that here all the way back in 1981.
Now, actually, that's a great point too about Jackie Chan because I almost be remiss here that we don't just have Brucesploitation, we've got Jacksploitation here.
We sure do. We
Uh,
because you need a golden dragon and a silver snake.
the Silver Snake, and he's played by it's Johnny Chen, right? Johnny Chen.
I believe so. Yes.
And I'm not sure the actor's real name is Wang Di Wei. And I couldn't tell if he's from. I don't think he's from Korea. I think he's from. But there's not a lot of information on him. He did two movies in his time. He did, or no, three movies. He did this. He did do a movie that looks like it was has a Korean name. And then he did Revenge of the Drunken Master as
Yeah,
Johnny Chan.
he may have only had one more movie than he had shirts. So there's that.
It's right. Look, yeah, because the one shirt that he has, it's interesting because both of these characters, you know, Golden Dragon and Silver Snake, they dress in like early 2000s, like men's fashion, with like kind of the form-fitting shirts and the bootcut type jeans or whatever, like kind of the baggier jeans. But like Silver Snake, I can't remember what the shirt was, but it was like some kind of like
Baker Electric Vehicles.
that's what it was. Baker, like, that's what it was. Yeah, it's like
Electric vehicles back in night. Who was thinking about that?
yeah,
This
yeah.
movie's from the future.
Exactly, exactly. Well, and then the best part is that the Golden Dragon, he carries his bat around in the same container that Mike Brady carried his architecture
Right.
plans around. So it's like, what's the episode where they were in Cincinnati, right? The Cincinnati, what was it, like the Yogi Bear theme park or like Hanna-Barbera theme park that they were at? And
I don't know. Well, Kings Island isn't. Was it
I
supposed
think
to
it
be
was Kings Island. That's what it was. Kings
Yeah,
Island. That's where it
Kings
was.
Island is
Yeah.
down there. Yeah.
Yeah. And so they did like a Brady Bunch episode, and I think somebody had like a signed picture of one of the characters. I can't remember exactly, but then Mike Brady had his architecture plans, and they got switched. They were in the same looking containers, and they got switched. But the containers are very similar to the one that Golden Dragon has his baseball bat in, but he had slung on his back. Um, so the whole time I was just worried about poor Mike Brady's architecture plans. I was like,
That is similar to when Sanford and Son went to Hawaii, and Fred got the suitcases mixed up, and he had a suitcase full of stolen diamonds as a result.
right, that's right, that's right. Yeah. Oh man.
I hope everybody time stamped when the classic TV talk started, because it didn't take very long, did it, folks?
No,
We haven't even talked about scene one of the movie, and we're talking about Mike Brady and
yeah.
Fred Sanford.
Fred Sanford. Yeah, because I think the thing about poor Sanford's son when that happened to them is that you just want them to just have a nice vacation in Hawaii, and it's just like
Yeah, I went to the Junkman's convention.
right,
It was a trip of a lifetime.
exactly.
He
And then
wouldn't have been able to afford to go to Hawaii, but yeah, they were using him to transport these diamonds because they figured he'd be a rube.
right.
So that's the thing. He was supposed to have the diamonds, but then he switched it with like the Japanese tourist and ended up with the cameras. And the
That's
Japanese guy had his underwear and the diamonds.
that's right.
He was unaware though that he had
Right.
diamonds.
Yeah, because that was the thing, right? The Japanese tourists with their cameras.
Right.
Yeah,
That's all they brought. He didn't need clothes. He just had his cameras.
exactly, exactly. You get the clothes when you get there, right? It's
Right.
yeah. Even well, I don't know, because back then we didn't really have like kind of the fast, what they call it, fast fashion. Is that what they call it now? Where like everything is like really cheap. Um, and so if you bought a pack of like of underwear, back then you didn't just throw it out. It lasted. It was meant to last longer. Whereas nowadays it's like if you have Hanes or something like that, they're meant to last. If they get a year out of them, before like they become like whisper thin, and
Whisper thin.
whisper thin, yes, or like t-shirts. It's like if nowadays like they're made out of such cheap material a lot of times. It's like something
Right.
like I'd be putting them on, and if like suddenly my fingers, I'm like the end, one of the end bad guys in this, with the angry fingers kind of thing, where it's like suddenly I'm putting a hole, and I'm like, no, I don't have
Right.
kung fu fingers like that. I
Yeah,
shouldn't be putting a hole in the
you
shirt.
wish you had iron fingers. You
Right,
wish you
exactly,
did,
exactly. But
but
these
you
shirts
don't.
are so cheap that I feel like I've got iron fingers because I'm like
Uh,
putting a hole in my shirt just by grabbing it.
yeah. Come on.
Right. Yeah, we need, yeah, it's, back then they made stuff better. It was a better time. Well, I guess we'll start with scene one.
All right.
Scene one, we've got who we think may be our main character. We're not sure who this guy is, but he's standing in a wooded area, and three guys approach him, and they
All
tell
right.
him that he needs to apologize for something, and his response is, "Well, I don't apologize for things that if I didn't do anything wrong."
Right.
And so they attack him, and he dispatches them pretty easily. I mean, it's not it's like no contest. Even though it's three against one, this guy takes them down pretty easily.
I and we get to see, obviously three goons. These aren't the main bad guys. These are some of the goons that are doing some of the dirty work. And my favorite is in there right from the start, Afro guy.
Yes.
I really love the Afro guy villain in this. He's very good, and he takes that helmet off, and there's poof, Afro. He's good. He doesn't get helmet hair. It's a strong Afro. He's doing a great job. Good job, guy. I could look him up.
Yeah, and the thing too about him is that like almost any time that these three guys are dispatched to do something, you'll see, okay, there's Afro guy, and he'll be
Yeah,
standing there, and he'll get thrown through some tables and get kicked around and stuff. So he does what you need him to do.
he's Hong Seong Young.
Okay,
In case anybody wants to look him up and
yeah,
maybe drop him a line, see if he still. Maybe did he lose his hair? I hope he still has that head of hair. I hope he's still alive.
right,
And if
right,
he
because
is, I hope he still has that beautiful head of hair.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Yes, we need that for sure. Yeah. Now these three guys go back with their tail between their legs. Though, I can't remember what does the guy do to. He does because he tells him, you go back to your master and tell him, that I'm not apologizing for anything or something like that. But I thought he grabbed him or something like that, and he was like,
He ends up putting the one guy right on his motorcycle. Like
that's right.
he gets him, like he does something, and the guy next thing you know, the guy is on his motorcycle pointing in the direction he's supposed to point in. And he's like, "Yeah, I'm not giving in to you bastards." And boom, he's yeah, that the main of the three goons has to go back and tell the boss, the mysterious boss, who we don't see, but he's petting a cat.
Yes, yeah, the ribbon.
You don't see his face. Oh, it's like, who is this guy? And we find out that Han Shek, who is the guy that was being assaulted but actually did the assaulting,
Mhm.
he doesn't want to pay the protection money. So all right, we know we have the mob versus people. So that's our first bit of establishment there.
Yeah, and what's happening is not only does he not want to pay the protection, but he's organizing
Mm.
other local businesses.
He's a rabble rouser.
Yeah. Now, the problem with this guy is that despite being really good in a three-on-one fight in the woods,
Yeah.
he's not very bright when it comes to going into elevators and keeping an eye on his surroundings. And he's easily dispatched by sort of like I guess what is he's like one of the two second in command baddies.
He's
Or
like got the Humphrey Bogart type
I was gonna say,
sweetheart. Yeah, he's
yeah,
and he's got a drill. More importantly, he's got a drill.
he's got a drill. Yeah, and so they're holding him at knife point, and then the guy takes the Humphrey. Yeah, I was gonna call him the Humphrey Bogart guy, so that's perfect. The Humphrey Bogart guy stabs him with the drill, and that's it. He just flattened out. But then they also tell the guy who runs the restaurant, along with some of the other people that we're planning, because what happens is that this guy in the elevator who was organizing everybody, he's got a Manila folder with all the names of all the other businesses that we're gonna turn against. So they just take that folder and say, okay, well, the rest of you people, you're all paying us double now. We want double rent. We want it this afternoon of all times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is kind of a throwback to a lot of the kung fu movies I watch. There's always like they always have the list of like who's the rebels are against the Qing dynasty or
Yeah, right.
whichever side we're taking for this. It's like why are you always writing these names down? And they
Right.
always want to know, like, so then the emperor I need that list. And there's so many movies with the list of names. It's like quit writing shit down, everybody. You should just have a secret handshake or something, so you
Exactly.
know who's who.
What's great too is with Godfrey Ho, kind of with his style of movie making, where he just kind of pulls things from places because he thinks they have to be in it. You get the sense that Godfrey Ho's like, well, we need all these other movies had lists, so we need a list somehow.
Right? They got the kiss was on his list. Let me tell you what.
Exactly.
Yeah, we got a list, folks, and now the bad guys got the list. So yeah, it's just gonna be nothing but trouble for guys like Wong and his restaurant, where I've never seen a patron in that restaurant.
No,
Is there ever anyone in that restaurant?
no,
Oh,
no. They're always doing prep. It's all prep.
right.
Yeah, we only ever see it during prep times. Yeah. But speaking of the restaurant, so we have a rickshaw driver who shows up with Golden Dragon. We don't know why Golden Dragon is there, but he's friends with the rickshaw driver, and the rickshaw driver is also friends with the restaurant owner. The restaurant owner tells him, "Well, we don't need a chef, or we could use a chef, but we can't afford to pay a chef." And Golden Dragon's like, "Well, I'll work for food and board if that's will you do that?"
Right. I thought, and I want to talk about that. Like,
Yeah,
how simple would life be if that's all? Like, if you didn't have anything, like, we've complicated things so much.
yeah,
If, yeah, that'd be perfect. Like, okay, I don't just feed me and give me someplace to live. But now, well, who's going to pay my cell phone bill? Who's going to
right.
pay for my internet? Who's going to pay for my toys? No, see, we've made ourselves the way we are. But I think we've skipped over one of your favorite things to talk about on this podcast. We get some big time padding.
Oh, yes, we do. Yes, yes. Now, are you talking about the workout room padding?
I'm talking about Samuel Walls the
Oh yes, oh yes, oh geez, yes, yes.
the
Oh
black
man,
martial artist who just
yes.
has two fights randomly
Right,
back to back where we're supposed to believe that Dragon Lee is just like watching from the sidelines and getting into
right.
it. And that's it. We never see Samuel Walls again. He just sits there. He has two fights, and it's it. That's the first time we see Dragon Lee. He's like watching these fights. And we also get stolen Herbie Hancock Death Wish music in that scene. So
Yes,
it's a
that's right. Because
twofer.
Samuel Walls, like the way it's cut is he's fighting, um, he's fighting the brother, I think, right? Or he wants to
I
fight
yeah,
the
he said
brother.
it. Yeah, I want to. So I don't know if that's the third. Whose brother is he? He's
Right,
not Han Shek's. Han Shek's brother is Dragon Lee.
right, right,
Whose
exactly.
brother is he? And then plus, I think at the end of that fight, he's like he at some point he takes his top of his gi off.
Yes.
But then the second, like he did he get redressed for the second?
Exactly. He just has the key back on, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes. I knew I was missing something before we got to the restaurant because we had more Dragon Lee establishment there, and I completely missed this though because it is a beautiful thing. It's when you get like a Samuel Walls in this, and I guess the other guy that we'll see later is Patrick Reynolds. Is that the tall guy with the mustache?
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah. But it's like, they're, he's doing all the same moves that his opponent is doing. And it's like, it's all these really great fights and everything. And yeah, and I wonder like, like a Samuel Walls or, anybody who went to Hong Kong and acted in these movies, if it was a combination of like the movies them, for like the audiences in Hong Kong, they would want to see, people who weren't from Hong Kong in the movie, and that would
Right.
be a novelty for them. But then for us watching it at home, we see someone who, okay, this guy could be an American, and I mean, the voice, the dubbing of the voice was horrible. I don't know what that was, but it
Oh,
was
ho,
like,
ho, ho. Let me tell you, if you ever watch Bruce Lee in New Guinea,
yeah,
that dubbing was like, oh, very politically correct because the one on that one is, oh, I'm like, oh, you couldn't do that today.
no,
Couldn't do that
no,
today. But
yeah.
no, it's like yeah, it was like Cat Williams was doing the
Right, it
dubbing.
was. I was trying to think who it was. You're right. It's Cat Williams. Right. He's like making fun of Cedric the Entertainer. It's like his specials weren't on Tubi. It's like I'm here to take out your brother. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
we get the two, and we never see Sam. So maybe, and I wonder if is that why there's two directors because obviously those scenes had nothing to do with anything else. So did
right.
did one or the other director do those? Is that what Godfrey Ho did? And then he's like, all right, put these in where you want. I'm out. Or was it the other guy and Godfrey Ho did all the other stuff? I don't know.
That's a good point. I'm gonna do a quick check. Not real time check, but I'm just gonna, with Samuel Wells, like, oh no, okay. I thought maybe I'd see like a whole pile of Godfrey Ho ninja movies but no, he
No,
doesn't.
he was only in like he was in Enter the Game of Death.
Yeah.
And I want to say IMDb, and here's another thing. Come on now, people. I feel like Enter the Game of Death, they listed Steve James. And it's like, no, that's not Steve James.
Oh,
Again,
did somebody list with Steve
I think
James's
somebody put a
movie?
Steve James. I'm like, I remember
Oh,
like, oh,
you're right. Yes. Well, so no, Samuel Walls is listed for Enter the Game of Death as well. But I think you're right. I
somebody
mean,
put Steve James in there. And I'm like, there was one black guy in that movie, and that was hell's not Steve James. Come on,
because
people. More than one black guy knew martial arts. You don't have to. What are you doing?
because he only would have been 24 at that time, Steve
Yeah.
James. He was
Yeah.
born in the mid 50s, so
Right.
he
I'm like, yeah, like I don't think he was traveling to South Korea
right,
at that time. Maybe he was, but I'm gonna guess no. I'm
right.
guessing that was our boy Sam Walls. All right.
Right. Because Sam Walls is listed in the film, but I think that happens sometimes too, that you get the same name, list, like you'll get like whoever listed it as Sam Walls probably was like, well, I don't know if Steve James is in this or not, so I'll just leave it, I won't
Like, yeah,
replace
how
it.
how could they have forgotten Samuel Walls? I'm gonna add him. And then
Right.
they're not realizing they should have also deleted the misinformation. But again, maybe they were like, oh, maybe I just missed Steve James.
So before Enter the Game of Death, right? So if we just we say that whether Steve James was in it or not, but if you look at everything around it, he was in a 1984, looks like maybe episode of All My Children, but then in the 70s he
Oh,
did.
Toyman's got that on tape. But
It
go
does
on.
exactly. Yeah, so, but he did in 74 he was an uncredited part in The Education of Sonny Carson, an uncredited police officer in the movie Obsessed in 77, and then he was a baseball fury in The Warriors in
Yes.
79. So he's doing these movies all in America. There's no
Yes.
movie in Hong Kong for him at all.
Yeah. Him and his friends didn't decide to go on a weekend bender and
Do a
to the
movie.
Far East and oh, wait a minute. You're making a movie? I can join you. No, no.
I think the first movie he does outside the US might be American Ninja.
Mm, what a fine film that is.
Right, exactly. He's he's good in it, but it's Furstenberg really lets him go, lets him get unleashed in American Ninja 2, which
Oh,
we've talked
yeah.
about here. Yeah.
We have. In fact, yes, go to the archives, folks, if you
Yes.
so desire. Maybe you haven't heard it. Maybe you just want to hear it again. I heard, speaking of things that people may want to listen, I've heard, we were both on the PM Entertainment podcast,
Yes.
talk about Riot. I've heard from people that that's going to be something they listen to every holiday season from now on. It's like they're going to do that. They're going to watch Charlie Brown and then they're going to listen to that for 4 hours and they're going to enjoy themselves. Thank you.
I think that's beautiful. I think, we should be, we making sure everybody has a Merry Christmas, as you said
Right.
when you're on the
Indeed.
episode. Yes.
So again, we are now part of the holiday tradition for some people. And, good. Frosty the Snowman and the DTVC. These things all go together, folks. And a partridge in a pear tree, if you will.
Exactly, in a fair trade. Now, for the American Ninja 2 episode, that one is 155 in the DTVC archive.
Oh
So,
my word.
yeah, so that was over 100 episodes ago. We did that one.
Oh, woo.
Yeah, so people can check that
That
out.
was wasn't that my first? I think that was my first
That was your first
appearance.
time on the, yes, that was your first time on the
See, I
show.
didn't
Yeah,
screw it up, folks. I kept getting invited back.
right. Right. Well, yeah, and we've hit pretty much. I mean, like we're doing Godfrey Ho, we're doing a Brucesploitation now, but we've kind of hit like everything at this. Kind of all the major DTVC like touch points, I guess you could say, because we've done. We did a Dudikoff movie, or a Duty, as you guys said, a Duty Police. We did a Dudikoff
Yeah,
movie.
which was also a canon movie.
Canada, we did Canada as well. We did like Gary Daniels, which also was a New Millennium, and an Isaac Florentine. So we kind of tick those boxes.
It's
Cynthia
New
Rothrock.
Image. Would you quit calling it
Oh
New
no,
Millennium, you
that's right. I know. I
bastard?
keep, I keep doing that. New Millennium, Millennium or New Image, right? New Image movie. Yeah, exactly. I keep doing that, exactly. But we've hit Rothrock. We've done a Sedaris movie. We've kind of hit just about every PM,
Yeah.
obviously with the sweeper. So
Don't
yeah,
forget Detention. In that
detention. We've done a
goddamn
Dolph.
Everclear.
Exactly. Everclear. Yes. Yes. Every time. Yeah. Every time. Right now, Father, like I just,
Yeah.
like, yeah, like immediately, do Father, like the moment I hear Everclear,
Yeah.
I
You
guess you
think
can't go down
Detention.
south, right? With all the bootleggers now. Like if I go down south and all the bootleggers talk about selling Everclear, I'll just, it'll be in my head forever.
Yeah, it was a real fun time talking about that movie that I didn't really think I hated as much as I did until I talked about it with you. But I don't think you're going to I don't think you're going to turn this movie against me or me against
No,
the movie.
no,
This
this
this one.
movie, yeah, this movie doesn't have any of the stuff that 'cause the tension was is still it's still a fun time. It's funny. This seems to happen with all of the Dolph Lundgren movies as well, because Bridge of Dragons, I think I have as like my number three all-time Dolph movie. And I talked about that one with Jeanette Ward, and we were just kind of destroying it. Just recently, the episode that's actually was posted just before we were recording, I had Freddie Young on. We talked about The Minion. That's my number five, I think, all-time Dolph movie. And we ripped that one apart too. So my podcast just seems to be taking all my favorite Dolph movies. I don't know what's going to happen if I
You
ever
have some
cover
really
Showdown from
strange
Tokyo.
favorite Dolph movies as
I
your
do.
freaking problem to begin
I
with.
do. I
Because
do.
let me tell you what, I watch Bridge of Dragons and I'm like, I don't like this movie at all. And then other people, and I'm like, I probably need to at some point sit down and watch it again because that was very early on. in the Bulletproof Action run, and I definitely know I was harder on movies when I started than now. Now I'll be like, oh, that's pretty damn good, huh?
Right.
It had, just if it has people that I know, and it's like, it's got Dolph, it's got Carrie Hirakawa, of course this is good.
Right. Right.
Because
It's
I've seen
Florentine.
some movies that I don't know who the hell these people are, and they're awful.
Exactly. Well, the thing with Bridge of Dragons is that for my friends and I, that before I started the blog, when we would do like our Dolph Fest movies and things like that, Bridge of Dragons was the one that we would introduce people to like low budget kind of goofy movie kind of time. We couldn't do the same thing with Showdown in Little Tokyo because you get scenes like you get like a sex worker getting beheaded.
Hell yeah.
There's stuff in there that like mixed audiences may not appreciate. Though I will say, when we watch those movies with people that don't normally watch these kinds of movies, it is always fascinating to see what they pick up on. There's a scene in Showdown in Little Tokyo where Dolph is pointing his gun at Tagawa, and he's having flashbacks to being a kid and seeing Tagawa murder his family. So he's like shaking while he's holding the gun. And one of the people we had watching the movie with us, he was like, "Man, does Dolph need a candy bar? Is he all right?" And it was like, never thought about it before. It's like, yeah, actually, it does look like he's having a diabetic coma right now. I just took for granted that you would be shaking holding the gun at Carrie Tagawa, but yeah, no,
You don't show him Joshua Tree. You don't show him The Punisher.
right.
You show him Bridge of Dragons, and then
Bridge of Dragons.
you go ahead and you put things like I've never even seen. I've got to check out the Minion. That's another one that's one that one and Command Performance I have never seen.
Oh, okay. So I think Command Performance, I think you'll genuinely
Like I've
enjoy.
seen the like part of it. I'm like one
Yeah.
time I stumbled upon it back when I actually had cable and cable channels, and I was like, "What is this?" I'm like,
Right.
oh, I need to watch it, but I'm not gonna ruin it for myself. And
Yeah.
then I never saw it again, and then
Yeah.
or I started watching something else. Who knows? That one I need to watch, and the Minion I need to watch. And I probably need to rewatch Bridge of Dragons, but I'm afraid to.
Yeah. I I will say Command Performance in particular, that one, it's for me, I think it might be, oh no, of course, my scale is a little bit off of what's good or bad for Dolph, but I would say like outside of things like the Expendables that, we just know are really good, I think Command Performance is probably one of his better, like, last however many. Of course, that was made in '09, so I'm saying it's like one of his recent ones, but it's more like, it's still 17 years ago now.
It's
But
more recent than Rocky Four. We
right,
can say that.
exactly. But whereas like the Minion, I don't. One thing I discovered about the Minion was that I think it does better in a group.
All right.
So yeah. The other thing with the Minion that I mentioned in that episode was that so my blog post was a little tongue in cheek about it, where I said that the movie was amazing on so many levels, and I was talking about a movie where Dolph Lundgren plays a KGB trained Knights Templar who goes to the New York City, and finds a 1500-year-old Knights Templar skeleton,
Right.
and he's fighting against demons and stuff. So amazing on so many levels. It can have different meanings, but
Right.
I guess the Minion was packaged with like a three DVD set or three movie set with like Deep Rising and I think like one of the Puppet Master movies, and they were scraping the barrel to find anything good about the Minion. So they just grabbed my "so amazing" on so many levels and put that on the cover, and and I was like, man, I feel because a part of me was like, oh, that's great. One of my review things got, and of course, didn't even say direct to video connoisseur. It said Matt Movie Guy because that was my old site name.
Mhm.
But I was like, man, like that review was not so amazing on so many levels. Like that was not the movie I was describing. But I guess it's something out there for the kids. If you're writing a movie blog site, slip in something good about a movie, even if you hate it, because there's a good chance
Right. You
that
never know.
yeah, they might just put it on a cover somewhere.
I don't know if it's going to be. I saw that Toy Robot, which is the new like boutique label that's bringing some stuff out.
Yeah.
They got the 4K Masters of the Universe. Speaking of Dolph Lundgren, and they've got Roaring Fire
Oh yeah.
with Sonny Chiba and Sonata, and yeah, like they quoted me on their Instagram post. I mean I don't know if that's going to be on the cover of anything, but I was like, what? I'm like, who wrote that line? And it said Bulletproof Action, and I'm like, did I say that in my review? And I did.
You did, right? That's right.
I was. They properly. I'm like, okay. I'm like, why did they tag me in this? Was this my quote? Well, hell yeah, it was.
It was. That's awesome.
So,
Yeah.
so thank you, Toy Robot. Yeah, I'm looking forward to their releases.
Yeah, I think that could be a good one for sure. I think Sonny Chiba is another great one. He's I always love watching like the Street Fighter movies and things like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but that's awesome. You get, and that's the thing, like, but I think it's maybe in your case it's even better because you actually like genuinely like the movie. You weren't like tongue in cheek
Yes,
liking the
that one I
movie.
did. Yeah, that was. Yeah, I wasn't just being nice. Like, oh, I got this for free. I better not
Right.
totally bury it. What can I say? Oh, it was very well. It was what a beautiful scenery in this film.
Yeah. Well, and to be fair, you could do what a lot of sites do, where you just, string together as many superlatives as you can, like high octane, like
right.
balls to the wall, like how many different of
Yeah.
those you could string together?
Mind blowing, jaw dropping,
Right, right.
pulse pounding,
Yes.
bonkers.
Uh,
It's all there.
Pants crapping. Yeah, yeah. Right. I guess that's the way. That's maybe another way. Maybe I should like for each blog post I do, just do one paragraph of that.
Yeah,
You
that'd
know,
be nice.
yeah.
You'll forget. You got too many other paragraphs of nonsense in you.
I
You
do.
have all the statistics and everything. This is the
Right.
14th one of this, and this is the
Right.
third time I
Exactly.
talked about it on the fourth day of the month. So that's you. You got more stats than you.
Right.
You missed your calling. You could have been involved in your precious sports and been like the stat guy and
I know.
feeding the announcer all the stats he needed.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And of course, one paragraph is always dedicated to whatever fast food restaurant was in the movie.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, so that's there. There's no, nobody's, pulling any superlatives out of that. Like I should just like slip in, the McDonald's. This was like our 20th movie that had a McDonald's in it. By the
Yeah.
way, this movie is high octane pants crapper. It's like,
Ooh, just
right,
like McDonald's.
just like
Anyway,
McDonald's. Now, speaking of McDonald's, this movie was a high octane pants crapper. Yeah.
yeah, that's probably more appropriate for a Taco Bell, but
Right. Yeah. Well, there is I think Ice had
the
the
Taco
the
Bell.
Taco
Yeah, of
Bell, right? It was like across the street from the Ice Arena
course.
where there's like a massacre. This poor like rec hockey league game, and these mafia guys that are trying to get diamonds massacre like kill like five hockey players. Like only in the PM world, can you die
Yeah,
playing
yeah,
rec
just
hockey?
some amateur. Yeah, just a bunch of guys getting together, have a
Right.
little fun.
Right.
You dead now. You're in the you're,
Exactly.
in, you're in the wrong place at the wrong time in a PM entertainment movie.
Yeah. Probably a bunch of Canadians who moved to LA and, just got
Goodbye.
together as a
Following
group.
the footsteps of Wayne Gretzky. Is that what you're trying to say?
Right. Or Richard Dean Anderson. Yeah. MacGyver, right. Yeah.
Just people with hockey hair is what we're listing now.
Yeah. I thought he played hockey in an episode of MacGyver. He
I
had to show
can't.
off his
If he didn't, what's the point of even having the show, right?
right, exactly.
If he didn't, that show they should just burn all the copies of it, so we never know that he did it. You could
Yeah,
just be like, oh, that that MacGyver's lost to time.
exactly. Yeah.
Remember that episode with where he played hockey? I don't think that. You can't prove it didn't happen now because all copies of it have been destroyed.
Right. So you never know. Yes. Yeah, I was watching, I don't know if it was Logo. One of those channels had Facts of Life reruns. And
Here we go, folks.
yes,
Facts of life now.
yes, Tootie was
Charlotte Ray.
Charlotte Ray. Well, no, this was Tootie was going to see her older cousin,
Okay.
and she discovers that her older cousin is dating Richard Dean Anderson. It was a huge deal
Oh
that they were an interracial
yeah.
couple in the early '80s or mid
Of
'80s, I
course,
guess, by
yeah,
that time.
yeah.
Yeah, but it was Richard Dean Anderson was the was in the relationship. So I was like, that's MacGyver. Like, how am I supposed
He
to
was
see him?
MacGyvering race relations back then. He was putting
Exactly.
things together and making the world a better place.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I think he wore a corduroy jacket, like, kind of.
Who,
I mean,
who
so maybe he was a
wouldn't?
professor or
You
something.
wear those when you're just lounging around the house
I
with the
do.
with the
I get the
elbow
pads.
pads. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. I'm smoking the pipe like the guys in this movie, right? Is it just the one baddie, the Humphrey Bogart baddie who smokes the
Yeah.
pipe?
I think somebody may have been smoking a pipe when they conceived the movie, but that's another story.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Well, I guess after
And
this
now
fight,
we're back to the restaurant.
back to the restaurant. So rickshaw guy drops him off at the restaurant, and the guy who runs the place is kind of a jerk, which I was not expecting. It's like,
Yeah.
you should, but I guess he had a lot of stress on his mind.
Hmm.
He's dealing with these
He's
gangsters. He
got no
doesn't know.
business. He's got nobody coming in. I would imagine, if
Exactly.
I ran a business, I got news for you.
Yeah.
I'm pretty laid back. I don't get too angry with people. Well, I do, but you wouldn't know it. But yeah, if I'm sitting there and I'm like, holy shit, I'm paying. I got rent to pay, and there's nobody coming into this damn restaurant, and I got
Yeah.
food I'm paying for that I'm not serving, so it's just going bad apparently. So I'm
Right.
just wasting. I'm just throwing money away, and then I got this guy playing baseball. I'm going to be a little bit frustrated with that.
Right, yeah. So yeah, he got mad at him for playing baseball. So our hero was like hitting balls into a net.
Yeah,
Um, so
every
he said he,
time,
yeah,
perfect.
he was good. He could do it. And so this is Chekhov's baseball bat or batted ball, because the rule is, if you're Godfrey Ho, he knows the rule. If you show a character batting baseballs into a net
Yeah.
in the first act, you've got to pay it off in the third act, which he definitely does. But yeah, this chef starts giving him a hard time. He's like, "What are you doing? You're wasting your time." And then he sees him. He grabs this huge head of lettuce,
Oh yeah, he does.
and then he's got like two cleavers that he kind of brushes together, and then he just quickly chops the lettuce up and throws it into a thing. Then he starts like throwing chopsticks into cups,
Yeah.
and he throws one in the guy's mouth. But before that, he was singing, and the guy was like, "Don't sing, you can't sing."
You can,
Which,
yeah, you got to concentrate on your work.
yeah, I thought singing is what adds to the concentration.
Yeah, whistle while you work, you
Right.
bastard.
Yeah. It's like, because the thing is, like, this, when you're singing, I don't know. I mean, it's not like you're on stage performing. This is, it's like when
Yeah,
I'm,
not like Dolph Lundgren in Command Performance, but
right,
he was
playing
the
the
drummer
drums.
in that, wasn't he? Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. Like when I can't get Father of Mine out of my head and I'm like singing it and humming it and like,
Yeah.
doing different lyrics to whatever, it's not like it's taking up any brain power from when I'm
No.
preparing food. It's not like I'm suddenly, like, I don't like accidentally cut myself cutting an onion because I'm trying to think of the next verse to Father of Mine. It's just there. So I think this guy doesn't understand how singing works when you're working.
Yeah. Now, if he was dancing, I could see maybe there'd be a problem.
Yeah.
But he was just singing.
Yeah.
I am the, if you're the only girl in the world, and I am the only boy, something like that. And
Yeah.
yeah, but it's all interrupted because the bastard milkman shows up.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Now, did we meet the bastard milkman before at was the farm scene before that where
Hmm, I think so. I think yeah, the gangsters show up at the farm
right, to buy the farm
to
with
say
the
no, they're
rickshaw
not
guy?
even buying. They're just like, hey, by the way, a new law has been passed just yesterday that no more farming is allowed on it. This is going to be for tourists only.
Yeah.
And and then they're like, wait a minute. And then yeah, the milkman, he's like, wait a minute, I've seen you guys at the restaurant before.
Yeah.
You're gangsters. What? You're gangsters. And then we get into a brouhaha because the Bogart guy takes his hat
Right.
and he throws it in the air and a net comes out of it. He had a net hat. So that happens. And yeah. And, oh yeah, but before that, we should also mention that Milkman, who would eventually become the Silver Snake, spoiler alert, who eventually just disappears from the movie. Bigger spoiler
Right.
alert. He uses his guitar like a bow and arrow,
That's right.
and he like flicks things at the guys, and then he just goes straight honky tonk man on them and kabongs them with it. So yeah, you got that. You got the Afro guy back. Yeah, they want this land. These same gangsters who were responsible for killing Dragon Lee's brother with a drill in an elevator also want this farmland because they want to make it a tourist place. They want to build a hotel on it.
Yeah.
Even though later we find out that the hotel business is tanking.
Right.
So why would you go? Maybe is it because it's a shitty hotel and they're like, well, if we make a big swanky hotel, people would suddenly show up. If you build it, they will come type thing. I don't know, but I don't think it was a sound business strategy, almost like running a restaurant and continuing to order food when there's nobody there to eat it.
And I mean, we talk about ordering food. I mean, there's a massive bag of onions hanging on the wall behind
Yeah.
them.
Oh yeah.
And that bag has not been opened.
No.
That's a bag that's just, and I mean, everything has onions in it. Especially like, Chinese cooking. I mean, how many times you get something and it's got, you can't really cook Chinese food without onions. You gotta saute it. So they should be going through onions like crazy, but that bag of onions is just sitting there.
No, and he doesn't just get normal heads of lettuce, as he
Right.
said. He gets the gigantic heads of lettuce because he's like, oh, well, we're going to have tons of salads that we just chop up one. We got enough for the whole lunch service. Hell no, you don't. You have enough for nobody's eating at your restaurant, sir.
Oh, no, no. No, I think this is
Wong. Come on, Wong.
yeah, cut it out, yes. But this is also, I think this is where we get the bastard milkman line because when the silver snake, when he steps up, because what happens is, right, you get this, we meet the uncle, and then we meet Julian, the young lady in her riding boots who,
And her cap.
her cap and riding boots, exactly. It's their farm, and they're almost buying the situation. They're kind of like, oh, I mean, this doesn't sound right, but I guess it sounds official enough, right? That
Right.
they want, and then Silver Snake is like, no, 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 this is all wrong. These guys are gangsters, and one of the gangsters is like, hey, that's that bastard milkman. And it's
Yes.
like, Silver Snake,
Exactly.
yeah,
That, and I have to imagine that it's not the first time that a milkman was referred to as a bastard, but possibly, most likely, the first time on film.
yes,
But
yes,
yeah, you have to imagine some of those milkmen back in the day when they were delivering milk may have been delivering a little something else
yes.
to the wives that were staying home while their husbands were off at work. And if the husband caught wind that the milkman was banging his wife, I bet he would have referred to him as that bastard milkman.
Right? Because that was the paternity joke of that time was,
Right?
he's
Yeah.
not mine, he's the milkman's son,
Mm-hmm.
and that was, he doesn't look like me, he looks like he could be the milkman's, that was the joke. It wasn't the postman's son, it wasn't the laundry guy's son, it wasn't, the paper boy. I guess the paper boy would have been too young, but even still, right? So,
Right.
it was
It
the
was the
milkman.
milkman. Yeah,
Yeah, he had
he
the
was delivering more than one kind of milk, if you know
That's
what I
right.
mean,
Exactly.
people.
Exactly. Though we do find out that Silver Snake later on is not that kind of milkman because
No,
he's shy. He has a thing for Julian, but he's too shy to tell her.
he does, and part of the reason she may not be attracted to him is because he wears the same shirt every day. You may want to think about that, gentlemen, if
Yeah.
you're pursuing a young lady. That looks are important. They're not the most important thing, but if you're wearing the same clothes every day, you have a problem.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, it especially if it's just, the t-shirt's cool, but there are other types of t-shirts that are similar to that you could
Yeah.
wear. And you'd get known for having a look that you wear those kinds of t-shirts,
Right.
but at least they're different t-shirts.
Right. He could have had, yeah, I don't know, some other thing. I don't know where one would procure a Baker electric vehicles t-shirt, but he had it
Yeah.
and he really was proud of it.
I mean, maybe the restaurant sold t-shirts, right? Because it's a tourist
They're not
area.
selling food, that's for
Right.
sure.
Exactly. He could have bought a t-shirt
Could have
there
got merch. He
and
could have
said
had a
it.
direct to video connoisseur podcast t-shirt.
Yes, we
Go to
got
the
our
website,
threadless. Go to the,
hit it,
yes. Yeah.
get yourself that, and I don't know, whatever else you want to do.
Right. A mug. You get a mug,
Mug,
Yeah. We don't have baseball bats. So
you have
I don't,
baseballs. Do you
no,
have
I
a
don't, yeah.
baseball cap?
No, maybe they do. I don't know if they do. Threadless is kind of, depending on what they do. I think, I'm trying to think what we sell. It's like, I just checked boxes on things like, yeah, all right, we'll do that. We'll do that. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, but,
I need to get into that racket.
yes, the
That's what I'm going to
threadless
do.
racket. Yeah,
I'm going to get
exactly.
into it. I'm going
Yeah,
to do
the
something.
merch racket.
I
It's,
need more merch.
yeah. So far, I believe the only shirt we've sold is the one that John bought after he set up the
There you
images. Yeah.
go.
So I bought some merch. Yeah. So yeah, the problem with the one thing with the merch, I think, is with the threadless thing is that it's expensive. And so that's
Mm,
the one problem with it is that like it's, they want like $30 a shirt. So I can't fault anybody for not wanting to spend $30
right,
on a shirt. It's like, there's, especially when you're following a movie site
right,
and, Vinegar Syndrome puts out something the same time. It's like I wouldn't be like, "Oh, don't buy that Vinegar Syndrome,
right.
Blu-ray that you've been wanting all this time. Get my merch instead." I'm like, "No, get the I get it. Get the Blu-ray." So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, we're not like Chad Michael Collins level
right.
where we have a big fan base who would support us and buy our merch like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Um, I will say the CMC hoodie I did, it's very high quality, so it was worth it. But yeah,
Yeah.
again, I could see where people may not care if they got a Chris the Brain Count the Bastards hoodie. It probably is not going to be the same.
I mean, you never know, right? Like you could, there's people out there that might buy it, but it's like I think our niche that we do with movies, it's hard to I don't I think it's hard to like ask somebody to like I guess it seems like a lot of our audience probably is just buying up as many DVDs as they can because it's like you do kind of see it like everybody's posting on Instagram all the new buys that they've made.
Yeah.
So it's like that's where the money's going, and you can't fault it. It's like when you see somebody post
Right.
like a,
We're
a great
movie
find.
fans. Yeah,
Yeah,
movie fans. 100%.
yeah,
When
yeah.
I
So
when I have the expendable income for it, I certainly use some of that for things like movies
yeah, yeah. It's kind of
and and action figures, but movies as well.
right. Yeah, exactly, exactly. It's just it's hard to yeah. It's so I can't fault it. I can't fault it. So I think if you could sell the shirts for $5 a piece, now, I don't know how you make them for 5, but I think you have to make them yourself.
It's almost, yeah, it's one of those, yeah, you'd have to do it ahead of time, but then you're going to be stuck with,
The shipping.
then you're going to have, yeah, you got to ship it and you
Yeah.
got to then store these things because
Yes. Yeah.
because yeah, I remember from my independent wrestling days, yeah, if you bought a bunch of shirts, you can get them pretty dirt cheap, but yeah, you'd have to have, it's not the quick made to order type where it just ships right there. But yeah, then you'd be stuck with, okay, now I got 15 2XLs that nobody wants, or all
Right.
I have left are smalls and mediums that nobody could fit in. And I'm like, what do
Right.
I do with this? I don't know.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's the thing is that, and I mean, we've got cats here, and so if anybody knows cats, they can make beds out of anything, and so
Yeah.
it's like you got to have those boxes up high and closed because the next thing you
Mm-hmm.
know, you might be opening one of those boxes and find a cat in there, and of course, we've got two orange cats, and they shed. So it's when I come home from visiting my family, because I have a backpack that I just use for going to visit my family, and I have one that's like the one that I use for going around the city, just because the backpack that I visit my family, it's kind of set for TSA. So I don't, if I am flying
Gotcha.
or something like that, I don't have to worry
Right.
about like, anything bad like liquids or something like that. And so like I just put it on the floor in the bathroom and didn't think to do anything with it. And then, you know, within hours, I come in and find a cat laying on it. So it's like it doesn't take long. It's almost like nature abhors a vacuum. Cats abhor nice, comfy resting areas not being used. Yeah. So now I guess is this the point where Golden Dragon goes to investigate what happened to his brother?
Well, first we get the after the chopsticks, the
Right.
milkman shows up,
That's right. That's right.
and we get to see that he's got some skills with the eggs. He
That's
can do all
right.
kinds of egg tricks, and then he goes, so they do that. And of course, Mr. Wong is again, they're gonna break my eggs.
Right. 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 Nobody's using. Right.
Uh so so then yeah, all right, well, it was nice meeting you, Golden Dragon. Same to you, Silver Snake. And then I believe at this point, Silver Snake, the bastard milkman, heads back to the farm
Right.
where he gets into an accident with the rickshaw man. Or
Right.
so he thinks. But it's like the rickshaw man set it up for some reason. And we should also note that the rickshaw man, on two occasions, he showed up at the farm after the brouhaha. He's like, I'm here for your rickshaw. Or who ordered the rickshaw? Nobody. Oh, my bad. But he just did that to like the bad guys. He popped in over there after dropping off dragging Lee at the like, no, nobody wants a rickshaw here. Get out of here. Like, he's the worst rickshaw man of all time.
Right, right,
He's got
right.
a worse business model than Mr. Wong. He's just going up to people who haven't even requested and hoping that they may be like, you know what, I didn't, but I actually do have to go down to the yarn store. So can you take me there? I mean, what's going on?
Right. Right. Or that, like, I guess is it like the idea where some people there's some ne'er-do-wells that that will go to like a Dunkin' Donuts and just grab somebody else's coffee that's sitting there. And is
Mm,
he thinking like, oh, somebody else ordered the rickshaw? Well, there's a chance that somebody else ordered a rickshaw, but I'll undercut the driver. So before the driver gets there, he gives them the ride. But it sounds more like he's just this guy who's just, he's a bit of a mercurial figure that we don't know why he's going around pretending to give, to go to the wrong locations for rickshaws. But it seems like, to be fair, because when he gets into this accident here, I maybe we could talk about this, like how is he a better kung fu master than he is a rickshaw driver? Because I'm not
oh,
sure on that
I think he'd
either.
have to be. I think
Yeah,
if he did nothing, he
right. That's a good
if he
point.
could chop one thing, I'd be like, well, you do that better than you rickshaw drive because I've never seen you get a fare. You just
Right,
show up at places. It's like a person who has a podcast every day and just talking about it. And nobody's listening, but
right,
they do it every day anyway. Like,
right.
here's this. Did anyone
Yeah,
ask for that? No, they didn't.
yeah.
Just like nobody asked for that rickshaw.
Right. It could be like somebody going on a site like, somebody's Facebook fan site, their Facebook site, and just writing reviews just for the hell of writing reviews on the site. You're like, well, okay, what's going on here? Who's, it's a, we weren't asking for reviews on our site, but hey, go ahead and write them, I
Go,
guess.
go, yeah, go for it. Do
Right.
what you want. It's a free country. You can go up to somebody and say, "Hey, did you order a rickshaw?" And they could say they're going to probably say no, but maybe, just maybe, you'll luck out. And they'll be like,
Yeah.
"Yes, please, take me to the CVS.
Exactly. Buy a
I
rickshaw.
have to get my syphilis medicine or something. I don't know."
Right, exactly, exactly. Now, when Silver Snake thinks he's hit him, there's some, there's the wreckage of the rickshaw on the road. There's the sandals are lying on the road, kind of askew.
Right?
So it looks like, yes, maybe the driver's dead, but in fact, no, he's standing on top of the truck, the dairy truck,
Yeah,
and he's balancing on the eggs without breaking them. And
unbelievable.
now Silver Snake's like, hey, you got to teach me this kung fu. And Silver Snake says, well, first you got to change your shirt. If we're doing this. Oh, but he's like, no, I'm not going to train you. And Silver Snake insists you got to train me, which that does kind of feel like an imposition. But it also seems like in these movies, people are willing to train despite the fact that it is an imposition. Though what's funny is in the Ip Man movies, it seems like the Ip Man's always having trouble getting students at his places, and but yet in these movies, it seems like people want to get trained all the time. I guess maybe it's because they don't want to pay. Maybe that's part of it.
Yeah, that's always people like free things.
Right.
They don't necessarily like to pay for things. Which again, I bet you if you gave away T-shirts,
Oh yes, people would take them. Yes, yeah,
people would want them so bad, and everybody be wearing them. It'd be like the summer in Canada where everybody was wearing a caffeine shirt. This would be the
right.
summer in America where everybody was wearing DTVC merchandise.
Yes, they would. The people would be like, "What is this?" You'd get the same Sinclair news broadcast across the country where they'd be towards the end like the lifestyle one. What is going on with this new trend of she-shirts? And
Right.
then it cuts in. Yeah,
Apparently,
so
Jerry Seinfeld is a reporter
yes,
on
that was my
for
best
Sinclair.
anchor voice. Yeah, that was my best.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know how
I
my
thought you were like, what is everybody doing
yes, no, I
with
was trying
these t-shirts?
to. Yeah, I was trying to do a good anchor. It's like this kind of this serious like high pitch, but I can't. Yeah, it's
Oh
like
God, how
uh,
that goes.
yeah, I can't. I don't know if it's if I'm just if I don't have it tonight. The
This
anchor
just
voice. Yeah,
in.
you're
What
right.
is this new trend going on
Right.
with t-shirts?
Yes, you've got
Find
it.
out after
Yes.
the break. Also, what's in your pantry that could kill you? Also, after the break.
Yes, right, right, exactly. Because you got to tease the thing that could kill
Right.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
now we have to sit through this local car commercial.
Right. Yeah, yeah. It's this that idea of the whole "it bleeds, it leads" thing, but it wasn't just that it bleeds, it leads. It was like, this thing that could kill you, and then you'd watch it, and it would be like, yeah, this thing that could kill me that nobody uses except for like this small like segment of the population.
Right.
It's like,
Onions that have been hanging at Mr. Wong's restaurant for 30 years. Don't eat them, folks.
right. Yes, this couple had some when they were visiting his restaurant. Well, we thought it was weird that like nobody else was in there and there was like dust on the tables and stuff like that and cobwebs in the corner, but he said he was open. So we just, it was a tourist town. We wanted to get something to eat.
Yeah. What a tourist town. I've seen nobody anywhere.
Right, right.
They're all
It's
at the
near the
farm.
water.
They're
Right,
all at the
exactly.
farm.
Exactly. It's near the
They
water, I
all
guess.
work there at the farm. Ah.
Right, exactly. Well, so I guess it is are we Golden Dragon, he's
Yeah,
got
now
some.
he's gonna go. He's gonna
Yeah.
go to these like massive apartment building.
Right, exactly. And the weirdest thing happens. Like while he's like sneaking around, some guy with like a pool cue or something, whatever the stick is he's got, follows
I
him.
think it was a blind man. I think he was pretending to
He
be
was pretending,
blind.
that's right, he was pretending to be blind. Exactly.
Or
That's
maybe
right.
he is blind. I don't know.
No, because then he whacks him, and then he acts like the guy that he whacked was trying to rob him.
Yeah,
So everybody shows up, I guess, and beats him up. And so then
right.
like he comes to work looking like he'd like just had like a toothache in a
The
Looney
Bugs
Tunes
Bunny.
movie or something. Right, exactly. Right. Yeah. And his boss is like, God, you can't work like this. This is
Yeah,
insane. And
that's
he's
like the nicest his boss was like, no, no, go
right.
rest.
Exactly. Yeah. I guess that's maybe he's got a soft heart. He's a rough boss, but he's got a soft heart.
Yeah.
So yeah. But then this is what's interesting is in the our the owner learns how, who this guy really is because when the guys show up to collect the fee, Golden Dragon's like, well, no, we're not doing that, and he shows off his great skills.
Hmm. Yeah, they're like, who the hell are you? I'm the cook at this establishment.
Right?
I haven't cooked jack shit, but I'm on the payroll, sort of. I get to sleep in the room behind the toilet. I don't know where he's at.
Right, exactly. Right. Well, that's the thing too. Where we never see him resting or sleeping or anything like that, so we
No,
don't know. There could have been like one, I guess, from Godfrey Ho's standpoint, right? There's no point wasting the money on a scene of him laying on like a mattress on the floor in a
no,
back room
you
reading a
don't need
book or
it.
something.
Yeah, you know what a room looks like, people. You don't need that.
Exactly. Exactly. Now, like kind of throughout this whole thing, you've got the bad guys all plotting to get this farm.
Yes.
And it's just like these scenes of just like discussing how they're going to get the farm away from these people. And it's like, they show up and they get
I like
rebuffed.
every time they show up, they have like a bad guy theme song.
Right,
No,
exactly.
no, 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 no.
Right. Right. And
No, no,
and
no,
we
no, no. Just in case you don't know. No, 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 no. Oh, the
right.
bad guys are coming.
Yes. And we never see the big bad guy, right? We just see him,
Oh,
petting a cat. And then
right.
like the Humphrey Bogart guy is just there talking with his Humphrey Bogart voice, like, yeah, she, we'll get him, she, and it's like,
Right.
yeah, right.
Right.
It's like,
He's like the middle management, I guess. Like
right,
he's above all the goons, but there's still one other level above him, and that is Mr. Ma.
right.
And that is played by Kong To or Chung To, who I think is like very high on my letterbox list because he pops up in these movies constantly.
Yeah,
But yeah, he's there, and I think when we first see him, he's coming out of the pool.
yeah, yeah.
He's getting a rub down from all his ladies. He's
Yes.
got the biggest grin on his face. Chung Tao, he's got it going on over there.
Well, and this is another moment where they're setting something up because, the action director is getting ready for a scene later in the film that's just going to be fantastic at this pool area. But for right now, it's just, hey, we're bad guys doing bad guy stuff.
He's got that nice chest tattoo. I mean, he's very, we'll find out he's quite beloved amongst his peers later on as well. because they throw a whole party. Yeah, he's at 7 films. He's tied with Lole, who's another one who shows up in all these. But yeah, it's my top. It's Chuck Norris with 10, Bolo
Yeah.
Young with 8, Chung Tao and Lole with 7 each.
Wow. That's amazing. Yeah. So yeah, no, so I'm trying to think now, after the fight at the restaurant, does he get fired then?
I think
Or
so.
no,
And we should also mention that when he gets in the fight at the restaurant, when he puts the one guy through
that's
the
right.
table he puts him through is like paper thin. Like if you it's actually sat at that table and had to cut anything, you would have been gone. Your plate would go right through the thing.
Which might be another reason why nobody's eating at that place, because that may have
Right.
happened before. You know, it's
Right.
like nobody's, don't eat at that place. Hey, we should go eat
Unless you want it on your lap.
exactly like the old Dixie plate commercials. Right, where
Exactly.
like, yes, like
That you
the
saw during Brady Bunch episodes
exactly,
and
yes,
Facts of Life.
yeah, the poor schmo at the cookout.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't have the Dixie. Was it Dixie? Is that the yeah? That was like their
Oh
their plates
yeah.
were made out of a harder substance.
Right. They had that coating on it
Yeah.
too. Yeah, it helped.
Yeah, I think the commercials they use now, and I don't know if they're Dixie or another one, but the ones they do now to make them more uh, uh, modern or more era appropriate. It's a guy eating Chinese food while working from home,
Yes.
and he's in the meeting, and he spills the Chinese food all over his computer during the Zoom meeting, and that's so, yeah, it's no longer the schmo at the cookout.
Changing with the times. Good for
Yeah.
you, Dixie.
That's right. That's right. 'Cause, yeah, yeah. Everybody, I mean, do paper plate needs change? I don't. We use them for our cat food mostly. We put the cat food in on the paper, or paper bowls or paper plates because they're disposable. And have to worry about cleaning them all the time. I'm sure environmentally it's a bad
Yeah,
thing,
you're
but
killing the earth. Thank you.
yeah, and I guess also the cans, they're all canned. It's giving them wet food in the can. Our cats are not very environmentally sound, and I don't
No,
know what happens with the cat litter when we throw it out. When the garbage people pick it up, who knows?
their carbon footprint is ginormous.
Yeah, and my wife and I don't drive, so I feel like that maybe offsets, but I don't really think that's how it works. I don't think, like everyone talks about carbon offsets. I don't think it works that way. I think, when you pump CO2 into the air, if you grow a tree somewhere, it's not, I don't think like Taylor Swift flying across the country in her private jet, it's suddenly a nice thing because she's, you know, paid to have trees planted somewhere and doesn't even really know if they're actually even being planted or not.
Mm.
Yeah.
Throwing shade at Taylor Swift on this
Yeah.
episode of the
Nah,
DTVC
I,
podcast.
I'm deflecting from my own responsibility as a poor
That's
steward of the planet. I shouldn't.
classic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's bad. It's bad form on my part, and I
Right.
apologize.
If some super rich person can't change the world, how's some poor schlub like me who people won't even buy my t-shirts? How am I supposed to change the
Exactly,
world?
exactly, exactly. I just don't want to spend the time cleaning out a dish for our cats. And it's like,
Well, then you'd use water.
yes, that's a good point. Yes, yeah, you have to, yeah, yeah. Yeah, and it's you can't wash it with the same dishes you wash your human food. Your human food plates. They can't be in the same because there's contaminants from the cats. You don't. So it'd be a whole separate set of water that I'd be using to wash
Oh
those.
boy, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, see, it's cats. People talk about the fact that cats kill a lot of birds, and I understand that's an issue for the environment as well. But yeah, cats are just they're I've got one sleeping behind me right now. Actually, he's awake. He's like, "Are you talking about me? Are you saying that I'm?"
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's gonna get you.
he is. I'm like, exactly. I think he thinks because I'm turning around looking at him that I'm going to feed him right now. It's a little early for his meal, so yeah. But I mean, that's the other thing too with cats, right? They're always looking for their next meal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah. But it's and I guess this movie we do have cats in this movie, but they're much more docile than I'm used to seeing cats. I don't know what they do to get the cats to just kind of sit on their lap all the time because I've never heard of a cat doing that.
These are stage trained cats.
Yeah, yeah,
So yeah, and they're evil cats. Perhaps maybe that's why. And
That
they
could
like
be.
know they're evil. Like all
Right.
cats are somewhat evil.
Right.
But these are like, no, I'm evil and
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it. But yeah, we get the restaurant fight. I think we get some training montages, of course. You need training montages.
Right. 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 Poor Silver Snake is getting trained by the rickshaw driver.
Yes, and yeah, there's one part where he's like pulling them, and that's where I was like, I know he's saying faster, faster, but I think he slipped in a bastard in there too. And I'm like, do I count that? No, I can't count it. The rule is if I cannot want it, and you can't turn if you turn on the YouTube captions,
Yeah.
you can't trust those.
They don't know.
You
Yeah.
can't trust it because it said bastard, but I'm like, but it also said something when they're like he robbed me, he robbed me. It said he rubbed me, he rubbed me, and I'm like,
Right.
see, that wasn't accurate. So how can I take? Yeah, no. So yeah, the total bastard count that I came up with was 6. So it's not going to make the count the bastard list, but 6 is still a very respectable number for a movie. I was surprised that when I watched Ace's Iron Eagle 3 for my podcast, that there were 8 bastards in that one.
Yeah, that is kind of crazy that I wouldn't have thought Aces,
No,
I wouldn't think that would be bigger than a Hong Kong
Kung
movie.
Fu, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh man, we might have there's a
Yeah.
few oddballs on the list, but I mean,
Right.
there's 54 movies on the list as we're recording this. Yeah, 90 some percent of it is Hong Kong movies, but once in a while, something to sneak in there. Like The Last Boy Scout was one that snuck in there.
That one actually kind of makes sense because I have a vague recollection of a lot of bastards in that movie,
Yeah,
like
that
people
one I
calling each
think
other
had I
bastard a
think
lot.
it had 11 or 12, so it
Yeah.
made the cut. But yeah, it's not gonna have the 46 that the Shaw Brothers movie The Bastard had. Which
Right.
makes sense. I mean, that was one like, okay, this makes total sense. If this one's not on the list, then there's a problem. And not only is it on the list, it is so far ahead of everybody. It's like, come on,
Right,
bring it.
exactly. It's like Albert Pyun for the directors list on my site, where Albert Pyun has like 44 or 45
Yeah,
director movies, and then the next one is Fred Olen Ray with like 17.
right.
Yeah, so it's yeah. And in this movie, it starts out with 4 bastards in the first 4 minutes, I
Oh yeah,
think. Yeah.
it's right away, and I'm like, oh crap, this one's gonna have a lot.
Yeah.
Because when I first reviewed it, I wasn't really counting,
Yeah.
and then when I second or third time I watched was that Tough Guys of Kung Fu one, so they were
Right.
muted, and I was so going crazy about the engineer coming into the audio every 10 minutes. I was like,
Right.
what is this? I cannot. Oh my God, they're going to keep doing it the whole movie. Oh, like I was just waiting for that. I probably wasn't
Yeah.
even listening to anything else. I was like, oh, is it time? Here we
Right.
go. We're back in the double beats. Boop, boop. All right. It's fascinating. I should probably ask, like, I know I follow one of the local independent stations here on Facebook, or there's like a group because that was like the big station growing up here in Cleveland. So there's like a fan page for it.
Oh,
And there's a
nice.
lot of people who worked, for the station there. I should ask them how the whole like movie thing worked. Like, is this something that happened? Like, how did I don't know. Maybe
Well,
they could help clear up the mystery for me.
yeah, because I think there are like there's like these like bumper kind of things that are on either side of the commercial,
Right,
and we don't see them because the commercials overlap and then they get into the
right.
film. But I remember when Channel 38, which Toyman, on your shows talked about TV 38 in Boston, when they were bought out by UPN or they were affiliated with UPN, however that worked, they were showing it was like UPN branded movies on
Mhm.
weekends. And I mean, they would run the gamut. You'd see like, direct to video action movies, I think somebody had mentioned on IMDb that they saw Cold Harvest on there. But sometimes when you would watch those, you would see those bumpers. It would be like some kind of technical difficulty, or the person working on the weekend wasn't doing a good job, and so it would be like before you'd have the commercial, you would have like 30 seconds of like this screen that
And
would
you, yeah,
say,
and that would make more because you would have at that point it had to be coming over like the satellite.
right,
Like
yeah,
they had to
yeah,
be beaming it, and then you were recording it on your end or doing whatever you were doing, so it was ready for broadcast.
yeah,
So yeah, I could see where maybe they didn't hit it quick enough or whatever.
Right, right.
But what back in those, I mean, I don't know. Maybe these were like, maybe this was later in the 90s where they were like satellite, like, here you go. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I do remember like Kung Fu Theater came back, was it late 90s, early 2000s? Like one of my local stations, suddenly I'm like, oh crap, they're showing old school Kung Fu movies like back when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And then I even remember moving down to, when I first moved to Cincinnati for a bit, there was like a local low power station. Guess what the call letters were? WKRP.
Oh, nice.
I think it was WKRP 25.
Yeah.
And yeah, Saturday afternoons, evenings, there was like, here we go. Here, I'm back in business. And so maybe this was from that era, and then they put it on a DVD. I don't know.
Yeah, it could be. It could be. That was how I would see. So, like, I would watch these as a kid, but I didn't really. There are only occasional ones, like the Chinese Connection or something like that, that I would like know that's what I was
Yeah,
watching. It was more like, and again, it would be like that Channel 38 that would have them on like these weird times of like Saturday or Sunday afternoons. But I think the other thing was, I think they went to more westerns because they had a better audience for westerns. Like people like my dad's age would much rather watch a western than
yeah.
like they like my dad would watch a Hong Kong movie with me if I was watching it. Like he would sit down and watch it with me, but he wasn't going to turn on that, but he would turn on a western and watch that. And I think they replaced. I mean, it's like Me TV. It's like all afternoon on a weekday. It's just all western TV shows. So I think it was only a short. I only remember it being a short period of time that they, and it wasn't like a dedicated time. It was just like, oh, we're going to fill an hour and a half or 2 hours with this Hong Kong movie, and then we'll play the western or a TV movie from the '70s that would get played again or something like that. So I don't think. Yeah, I wish. I remembered, but I just remember you could tune it on and you'd see like, oh, okay, here we go. This is, they'd watch this for an hour or so.
Yeah, I we had a dedicated like Kung Fu Theater. I don't remember if it was that what it was called or Black Belt there, whatever they called it. I don't remember if it just ended or was at the point where I started watching wrestling and that was on at the same time. So I watched wrestling and said, I know USA Network had their own Kung Fu Theater, and that was like
Yeah.
1 o'clock on Sundays for a while. But Sunday was always a day where we'd probably have like family stuff to do. So I wasn't necessarily home to watch that one. And honestly, I felt like I watched The Big Boss every time it was on. But then
Right.
if anything else that was on, I was like, okay. It was just
Yeah.
background noise.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, right? Is at that age, like a comic, like especially for me on Sundays when I was doing I collected comic books. There was a flea market that we would go. Like my
Mhm.
parents would drop me off when they would go grocery shopping, and I would have like my $10 allowance, and that's how you get like 10 comics for that
Oh
much.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I started just after they went from 75 cents to $1. I think that was when I was collecting. But you bring them home, and so then you'd have something like that would be on, or like remember the old Spider-Man TV show? They would pair it into like 2 hour movies,
Yep.
and yeah, and so sometimes that kind of thing would be on, and so I just like I would have it on the background while I was like looking through my haul for that day, and putting them
Right.
in
Or yeah,
bags and
was I
stuff.
playing GI Joes? Was I
Yeah.
playing Star Wars? Who knows what I
Right, exactly. Yeah.
yeah, was I reading a comic book? Was I
Yeah.
keep getting up to get snacks? You
Right,
just be
exactly.
on. You just had it on. It was there for
Exactly.
you. The
Right.
TV was there for you.
Well, because that was the thing too, is that this was, before the time of DVR. So you couldn't
Right.
pause anything. You
No.
just, it was always, if it was on TV, sometimes you'd time it for the commercial break, but sometimes again, like if you were distracted, you wouldn't even think commercial break. You just go and get something,
And
and
then yeah, and then in the for me, and this may be crazy for kids today, but when it was nice out, you went outside. You just
right,
went
that too,
outside. You did
yes.
something outside,
That's true
whether you
too.
wanted to or not. But you kind of did want to. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm going to go outside and
Yeah.
freaking take the GI Joes, or we're going to the sandbox. We'll go dig holes in the
Right.
dirt and make foxholes, and it's just, yeah, you just went outside. You
Exactly.
shot you played horse with the back. You know,
Right.
let's play horse. Let's ride bikes. Just
Bikes.
rode your bike to wherever. You just rode
Right.
around.
Right. The biggest deal for me in Maine was that, we didn't have like a convenience store nearby. So like riding a bike like a mile or mile and a half or whatever to where a convenience store was. And it was like this like sense of freedom that
Yeah.
I could, which I mean, I live in Philadelphia now. It's 2.5 blocks to the 7-Eleven now. So it's like a completely different mindset. But back then it was like, oh, I can take my bike and $3 to a convenience store and like load up on stuff,
Yeah.
you know?
No, yeah. And I had a convenience store like one street over. I had the
Yeah.
comic book store right across the street from that. There was
Yeah.
we had like magazines, like newsstand, like a magazine store
Mm,
that had every freaking magazine you could think of.
right.
And
Yes.
you would go there, or you'd go to the drugstore down the way. Like they had a bunch of magazines.
Yeah.
All this, we just walk. We had the
Right.
movie theater right at the top. Oh, for God's sake, if I could only go back in time
Right.
to
Yes.
those
Yeah.
simple times where, like you said, you had a couple bucks. That's all you needed.
Yeah.
I had the dollar theater at the top of the street. I had the convenience store. I had the comic. Oh,
Yeah.
shit. It's all
Yeah.
ruined.
It is. I mean, you think about like it's like I went to 7-Eleven tonight and I got my wife a coffee drink and they were 2 for $6. So I got her two for $6. I got myself a mini soda because I was and I got us each a small bag of popcorn, like and I think it was like $15 for all of that.
Yeah.
I mean, the small bag of popcorn itself, like if you were paying over $1 for that, that was a big deal.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. It would have been the jumbo. Yeah. If it's more than $1, it's probably the cheese popcorn.
Right, right.
And it was probably a little bit bigger. And yeah, you just go hog wild back in the day.
Yeah. And it's one of those things I will say I still have this mental thing, especially like Friday or Saturdays, where especially like if we're not doing anything and like my wife, maybe we're just going to watch a movie or or if I'm by my, if I'm going to be on my own and I'm going to watch a movie or something, I have this mindset of like, I've got to go to 7-Eleven or we used to have a Rite Aid near us. That was another, the
Mm-hmm.
drugstore
Right.
idea. But this thing of like, I've got to go and just load up on crap to watch the
Right.
movie. And the thing is, as a kid, when you'd load up on crap to watch a movie, it was again like if your parents give you $5, you could load up on crap to watch a movie. So it's like,
And have a little bit left over for the next time.
right, exactly. So there was this mindset of like, it was like a cheap way to. I mean, Doritos. What is Doritos like? What are they, like $6 a bag now? Like they've just,
Yeah.
that was like, you'd get like the Doritos and the soda and whatever else, like the candy, gummy
You had to
candies or
have some
something.
kind of candy. Yeah, you had to have some
Yeah.
kind of candy for dessert.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and I like all of those things. And of course, so there's a combination of the fact that it's expensive now, but also like I'm not, a middle schooler anymore or whatever. I'm like,
Right.
this isn't 30 years ago or 35, whatever it is. My body can't handle it either. Suddenly,
No.
like I'm like dizzy, my blood sugar's all over the place. I'm like, the heartburn's acting up. It's just
Oh,
like,
that's so yeah.
yeah. So it's like this thing of like, I shouldn't do this to myself. But like the thought of movie night just puts in my head this idea
Yeah,
that
you're
like,
supposed to be eating something while you watch the movie. Yep.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
This
So
week, if you're a Prime member,
yeah.
you can go back to the old school and get a $5 pizza at Little Caesars. Well, I got news for you. I got me a $5 pizza at Little Caesars, and I ate half of it for lunch. And I was like, I could feel the heartburn already, but I'm gonna keep eating this, and I'm gonna eat the other half the next day because that's a good deal.
Yeah,
That's $2.50 for lunch. You can't
exactly.
beat that.
No, no, it's like today it was Whopper Wednesday, but there was something wrong with the app. And then when I went to the kiosk, there was something wrong with the kiosk. And you don't get Whopper Wednesday if you don't use your Burger King
Oh,
Crowns or whatever
of
account.
course.
And doing that at the counter, maybe I could have tried to do it at the counter, but it's just like, oh, can I sign into my account? Oh, I guess. I don't know how you sign, like I just didn't want to go through all that. So like the second time it voided my sales, like, what, I'm out of here. I can't. I'm sorry, I can't do Whopper Wednesday today. So, and maybe it was good. Maybe it was the right thing. I mean, I went to the co-op and there was a marble rye that was close to its expiration date. So it's normally like $7, $8 for that. I got it for like 50% off. And so, you got to take your wins where you can get them.
There's another Seinfeld reference for you.
The marble rye, exactly. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It's one of those things where it's like I can't justify paying full price. I can't justify paying $8 for a
Yeah.
loaf of bread, or whatever it
Normally, I
is.
just steal a marble rye from an old woman, and it's
Exactly.
free for me.
Exactly. I don't think here in South Philly any of the elderly ladies would be carrying a marble rye here. This is not a
Yeah.
it's not this I maybe like a good like a Stromboli or something, that
Right,
might be,
right.
yeah. So I would feel horrible if I just, in the context of Seinfeld it works, but yeah, when you do it in real life you're just a mugger.
Right,
Yeah.
you are. You are. Do you like that I've given a more modern TV show with Seinfeld, even though that is now like 20
30
years
years. You're
old?
right, exactly. Yes. Right. I don't know if the
Or yeah, is it
elderly,
30 years old? Yeah, it was the late.
it
Oh
was like the
shit.
mid 90s, I think. Right. Yeah.
Oh
So
my God. See,
yeah.
that's I'm like, oh no, that was just 10, 20 years. No, that's
Right.
100 years ago, but it's
Right.
still more recent than goddamn Mike Brady.
Right, exactly. Yes, it is. Well, yeah, because that would have even been after the very Brady Christmas. That's still like a good like 8 years. Which
Yes.
even that doesn't sound like that. That sounds like a long time ago when you say it was only 8 years after the very Brady Christmas. But yeah, that was for a time. That was a Thanksgiving tradition with my wife and I. We would watch that while we were eating Thanksgiving dinner.
And
Um,
now you're gonna listen to the Riot PM Entertainment
Yes.
podcast
Well,
instead.
that's Christmas.
Oh
Christmas,
God.
yeah. I don't know that I can get her to, I don't know, but yeah, I definitely will. I will be listening to
Everyone
it.
gather around the fireplace. Are you
Right.
going to be reading The Night Before Christmas? Hell no.
So,
We're going to be listening to the PM Entertainment podcast of Riot. So I hope you have 3 hours because this is going to go for a while.
yeah.
And we're going to talk about a lot of things that are not Christmas related. You're going
Right.
to sit there and you're going to like it.
Yes. Yeah. Now, one of the traditions I think I might have to start in addition to that is I always get Chinese food on Christmas Eve, but now I've got to get milk and orange juice
Oh,
to go with
jeez,
the Chinese
please.
food.
Oh, you're making me sick.
Right.
I'd rather eat the half a Little Caesars pizza. If I'm going to be sick, I want it to be for a good reason, not because
Yes.
I'm eating orange juice, drinking orange juice with my Chinese food.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, classic PM. That's there's something very like, obviously, cars flipping into light posts and, C. Thomas Howell shooting at or getting, avoiding oxygen tanks that are being shot at near him. Like that's really, we think that's PM, but
yeah,
also those weird things like a kid putting a full box of pizza in the oven
idiot.
and yeah, exactly like that. That's also as much PM as the great stunts.
Yeah.
Yeah, every movie, I think every PM movie has its like PM moment like that. John's the most recent episodes we're recording this was Angels in the City, and
Oh,
that
yeah.
has the moment where like the guy is in his dorm room and he's got a Coors Light like
Yes.
neon sign right next to him in bed. It's just like
That thing's going to fall on your head, sir.
right, exactly,
Or you're going to
exactly.
catch fire of it. Something, no good's coming of that thing being that low.
No, no. Or what? Well, we did Midnight Warrior with John.
Oh, we
You have
sure did.
Nona, right? Nona, it just randomly
Oh,
singing a song while
the
the guy's
worst
doing magic
rendition
tricks.
of that song. Hey, compadre, la la da da. But it was awful. She butchered it. She'd be the lady walking with the Stromboli down the road, but
Exactly.
she should not be allowed near an open mic. I've got news for you.
Oh, poor Nona. Poor Nona. Yeah. So it's like PM movies, they have these moments. They all have these moments where you're just like, I mean, I guess the movie we're talking about here, maybe that's that they're trying to follow the Hong Kong
Oh, we're
tradition.
talking about a movie? Yeah, you're right. We are. We're talking Golden Dragon Silver Snake. For those of you who just joined us, coming up next, what's in your pantry that could kill you? And what's this hot new trend of t-shirts this summer? No, it's not caffeine. It's the DTVC. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah. Perfect. Well, I guess I'm trying to. So, are we at the point where um, Silver Snake gets Golden Dragon a job at the farm?
I believe yes, because he loses his job. There's two places to work
Right.
in this town, this tourist town. You can work at the restaurant nobody comes to, or just the farm has endless supply. I don't know where this food's going. Well, we know it goes to the restaurant. That idiot's paying for it, but they must have they must just go to local people, like just direct to consumer. So yeah, come on, we need more people to milk the cows and pick up the eggs. So yeah, he gets him a job there, and that's where we find out Silver Snake has a little something for a red hat lady, and she is the owner. We also at this point I think have found out she is the owner. She inherited the farm from her parents who died in a horrific accident like 4 years earlier, and her uncle is there to help her run this farm. So now we throw in Dragon Lee, and like the uncle's like, I could tell he's gonna be a great worker. I just could tell he's got a instinct for who's a good employee and who isn't. And that's the type of people I need in my life right now. I just need somebody who's hiring to just be like, he'd be great. We don't need any kind of information. Just give him the job. That's what I need.
What was that meme that the kids created about 10 years ago called Old Economy Steve? And I think it was like in response to their parents telling them that they needed all these things they needed to do to get a job. And these kids were like, no, the economy's bad. It's not like it's not like I'm not hitting the pavement, mom. It's that, nobody hits the pavement anymore. You go, and so they'd have this picture of this guy, this like guy who graduated high school in like 82. And it's just, he's got like the mullet, and he's the blonde hair, or is it the dark hair, the blue eyes, and this look on his face. That's like his yearbook photo, and it would just say things like, went to college, only cost him $300 a month or $300 a semester, but then be like, had the same job for 20 years, no resume, guy just took a chance on him, and like all these things about what the economy used to be like in the 80s, after Reagan took over and decided to make it not that economy anymore. But like boomers got like the last. They got the last.
You could get hired just because someone liked the cut of your jib.
The cut of your jib, yeah, yeah. It's funny because the show The Bear, this character in who I guess she's more like like an older Gen X, maybe not so much a boomer, but she loses her job and then she's like hitting the pavement that way. She's trying to do that, and of course, like she's running into brick walls everywhere, and then she goes to this Italian beef place that's run by John Bernthal that eventually becomes The Bear. Like his younger brother takes it over, and he's just like, hey, you want to come work here? You're welcome to work here. And it's like it was almost like this taste of the old economy in the show, just like old economy Steve.
Sir, your TV reference is much too new for this program, and I need you to shut the hell up about it.
You can say fuck.
Why don't you tell? I know. You need to tell me about how Alice showed up at Mel's Diner after being stranded in Phoenix, and how she got her job. That's what we should be talking about here.
Yeah.
On this fucking podcast. Thank you.
Exactly. I think we don't talk about enough about that either. Is the diner politics that kept Alice in her job, and Vera in her job, but yet caused them to go through three flows. That's yeah. Vera, I guess, stayed out of the office politics, but boy, Alice, she wasn't a fan of those flows, and once eventually they got let go.
Vera was the classic "don't rock the boat" and you could stay there forever.
Yeah, yeah.
Where Alice rocked the boat and made sure that the flows fell off of it when she was rocking.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. And I guess Mel, he didn't. He agreed.
I think
with
Mel
her.
was intimidated by Alice, so he was just like,
Maybe she's right. Yeah.
The inmates were running the asylum there for a bit.
Exactly. Yeah. It's somebody on Blue Sky or something was like posting this thing of like what TV shows were on for too long. And I realized when somebody posts something like that, they're kind of in this sort of like this modern concept of TV that is like that nothing existed before The Sopranos or Oz or something, because it's like I could tell that everybody in the conversation understood it meant prestige TV show went on too long. But for me, off the top of my head, I'm like, oh, well, Archie's Place. I mean, All in the Alice was on for too long. What were these seasons with, Ted McGinley and Happy Days? It's like all these things, and they're like, people are talking about, oh, Twin Peaks was on for too long or whatever. It's like, what? Twin Peaks had two seasons. Oh, well, it had a third season at some, and it's like, yeah, it's weird that like there's this idea that TV didn't exist before that, because it definitely did.
Oh, I remember. I think it was on Reddit where somebody was like, before WWE had Raw on Monday nights, did they have TV shows? And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? And that's probably my most liked Reddit post of all time, because I then like from when I watched, here's how it went. You had three syndicated shows. You had primetime wrestling on USA. You had All American Wrestling on USA. You had Saturday night's main event every month.
Right.
Yeah, there was TV. I mean, that's how you freaking got people to. It was basically an infomercial, but that's how you got the people to come to the arena and buy the ticket and buy the merchandise, and that's how the machine worked.
Right.
But yeah,
Right.
some of them were like, well, before Raw, like what was happening? I don't know what they think was happening, but it's like, yeah, and you know what? They weren't the only wrestling on TV either. There was all these other. Oh my god!
God,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's that. Who knows how old that person was? I
Yeah.
guess they were not. They were considerably younger than my old ass,
Right.
who
Imagine
lived
if
through it.
Imagine if Todd Pettengill was he like a
Yeah,
Pittsburgh radio jockey who did
he was
the
in New
Saturday
York.
show?
He was
New
New
York,
York.
yeah, yeah. Just there's Todd Pettengill. If he saw that, like one tear would go down his. What do you mean there was nothing before Raw?
Well, and that happened with Raw. So
Yeah,
Pettengill, and because yeah, they had the 2 hour. Here we go, folks. Get ready. We had the 2 hour primetime wrestling,
right.
which was a and then it went through different incarnations. But they were like, okay, so in January of '93, they're like, okay, we're going to change things up, because at this point, syndication was their top thing. But now they're going to start shifting, and cable is going to be where the main stuff happens. So instead of 2 hours on Monday, because Raw started, it was just an hour show. And then they took the other hour that they had with USA and put that on Saturday mornings with the one and only Todd Pettengill.
Todd Pettengill, yeah. Yes, yeah, yeah. Because that's what because I remember he all yeah. Because so I guess that was the one. Because I remember I think it was a syndicated show that would be on. There would be like these 3 hours that you'd get on Saturday mornings. It would be American Gladiators, that syndicated WWF show,
Superstars, most
Superstar.
likely.
Yeah, and then roller derby would be on as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if we were my friends and I got up early enough, there'd be like paid programming of some guy showing like a wonder cleaning device or something that would be on, and we didn't know it was paid programming. We thought it was like part of the block that because the announcer guy was pretty close to a Todd Pettengill type. So or Mike Adamle, I think was that the guy who did American Gladiator.
Yeah, he did. And he
Yeah.
eventually was in WWE many years later.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Because that was like that was Saturday mornings. We had advanced past Saturday morning cartoons, and this
Yeah.
is what our Saturday mornings was that 3 hour block
And
there.
that goes back to the like, was there a cartoon that was on at the same time that I was like, oh, because it was kind of in that in between where like, yeah, I was still watching some cartoons, but it was like cartoons became more like the weekday with like the daily GI Joe and the Transformers and the He-Man and Voltron. Let's not forget Voltron. And yeah, Saturday morning became less and less appealing, and there was other stuff because there was the kung fu movies, there was the wrestling, and once wrestling took over, that was the end of. Although there was a Superman cartoon, like '88 on CBS, but it was on super early. So if I'd get up super early, I'd watch it.
Yeah.
Because it was before my wrestling, but that's when I was also more of a teenager, so. Sometimes you just wake up in time for that 10 o'clock wrestling to come on.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I remember.
You'd be up late. I was up later because I'd be watching probably erotic thrillers or something. No, probably like Hot Dog the movie and stuff.
Yes.
Revenge of the Nerds and shit that I shouldn't have been watching, but I was.
Right, whenever Rhonda Shear or Saturday, that would have been Gilbert Godfrey was no Rhonda Shear was the Friday, right, and Gilbert Godfrey was the Saturday.
Saturday.
Yeah. Yeah, because that was always a big sleepover thing too. Was um, it was either USA Apple Night or Headbangers Ball, and so it was a question of like switching between the two. Like depending on what the movie was on USA, maybe we would just stick with that. Um, but yeah, because that was when Ricky Rackman I think took over Headbangers Ball, and so that was and I don't even know how much we cared about like the metal because we were hair metal fans at that time. We were kids, we didn't know any better,
Hmm.
and so I was
Right.
like, how much Poison are they showing on Headbangers Ball with Ricky Rackman? But I guess they had enough. But Dokken, you'd see some Dokken stuff like that. But yeah, those Saturday nights, that was like it now it's like if you look at USA on a Saturday night, just if you look at the program guide, it's just all Fast and Furious movies back to
If they
back.
have a movie, yeah,
Right.
it's something like that. Mm.
Yeah, it's just essentially a repository for Universal to, SVU episodes. They just, whatever NBC Universal has, they just dump it on USA. And then on weekends when the Premier League season's on, they'll just put soccer games on in the mornings. And so, yeah, that USA was just like it had everything. Like you said, it had Hong Kong movies. It had you see Dolph or Seagal or Van Damme movies on there. And the TV shows they had their own. They would show Renegade.
Right.
Silk Stockings on a Sunday night.
Oh,
Yeah,
Silk Stockings. What a fine film. Yeah, you could watch the Malibu Bikini Shop and
right.
hear Naomi Delgado sing "Lookin'." I mean, that is top. I went to watch that a few weeks ago, and I couldn't get past the theme song. I kept listening to the theme song over and over again, and finally watched the movie. But yeah, God bless the USA Network.
Yeah, it's a shame. I mean, on the one hand, it's nice, like like a movie like this. You can go on YouTube, and the Wu-Tang channel has it, and you can
Mhm.
watch it, and it's there, and you don't have to wonder if it's going to be on. Set up your VCR to tape it, and all of that stuff. But I think there was something about the other. I mean, the accessibility now is a nice part of it,
Yeah.
but back then it was like there was almost like kind of event type thing where on a Saturday night, what are we doing on a Saturday night? And I guess like Sven Gulli has a little bit of that now,
Yeah.
but really like this culture, like USA Up All Night kind of thing, or whatever USA would show at other times where everybody would want to watch it. What is this, that kind of thing. And whether it was USA or like you said with the wrestling where, you'd have these different nights where I guess that still exists now, but I don't know. I guess it was a different thing back then because you had so many different wrestling organizations and, they kind of I don't know, something about it felt a little different back then.
I mean, yeah, there's wrestling on every night of the week now, which is crazy to think, but there is
Right.
every night of the week. But yeah, back then it was like you kind of like they didn't cross over like you would watch the weekends were wrestling, man. You just would watch that from again 10 in the morning to about 1 o'clock. You could watch wrestling. Then you can go outside for a while. Then you come back. The gorgeous ladies of wrestling were on at 7 o'clock in Cleveland. And you would watch, and if you watch the NWA was on TBS at 6:05. So you could watch that for a bit and maybe like, oh, I don't like this. I'm gonna watch Glow. AWA was on late at God, again those simpler times. I wish
Yeah.
I could.
Oh, AWA wrestling was it because one of the things I think about AWA wrestling was watching that and then watching WWF a couple years later and seeing people from AWA who
Yeah.
made the jump. That
Yep.
was because we were like, oh, I knew them when, it was like
Right, and that's kind of what got me into because at first it was just WWF is what I discovered. And I'm like, well, that's what I watched like maybe the first year or so. And yeah, every once in a while I catch the TBS stuff, and I mean, why has everybody got a belt, and why does everybody have bleach blonde hair? And I didn't connect to that as much. But yeah, when guys would be swapping back and forth, it's like, well, I need to know everybody. So then, yeah, I started watching more and more of everything. Like I think the thing that caught me with AWA was Jimmy Superfly Snuka showed up, and I'm like, oh, that's where he's been. Like I had no idea about all his legal troubles and stuff at that point. I was just like, all right, so yeah, I started watching AWA on ESPN, and it's like, and I still will watch those old ESPN shows because uh, that's a thing that just they fascinate me because they really had no rhyme or reason to how they put those shows together.
No,
They
no,
they, they weren't. It wasn't like the other like WWF and NWA. Like you understood, like okay, they're building up this feud, and you knew what was where AWA was like. We just taped a bunch of matches, and now we're gonna just put them on. They had like bits, but they really weren't storyline driven as much as the other two.
no. I think that was it. Cheap Seats was making fun. I think I want to say it was no, it wasn't an AWA actually. They were doing like older
Mid, it
ESPN.
was Mid South, I think they
Right,
had.
mid yeah, and they had like they had like rules where it's like, okay, well, if the one guy just has a name, just his regular name, he's going to lose,
Yeah,
things like that. And yeah, AWA kind of felt like it had some of that. That I think I want to say the Rockers. I think
yeah. Now the Midnight Rock, and so
yeah,
yeah, that's where I and like I love these guys, and yeah, you would
yeah,
there'd be you'd be like basically the scout for WWF. You'd be like,
right.
oh man, I hope this guy jumps over there because they're real good, and maybe this show isn't as good, but yeah, like them, Mr. Perfect was over
That's
AWA.
right, Mr. Perfect. Yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
I missed Mr. Perfect when I went to the Portland Civic Center match because there was a quarter inch of snow on the ground in Portland, Maine, and he didn't want to make the trip up from Boston. So that meant Hacksaw Jim Duggan had to fight the Duke of Dorchester. Yeah, so I never get to see Mr. Perfect live.
no holds barred own
Yeah.
Duke of Dorchester.
Duke of exactly. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that was a kind of a kick because my dad and I, we used to watch the Nesson.
Right.
Right,
Yeah,
and the Duke would always be on those ones, so it
of
was kind of a
course.
fun thing for us to see
Sometimes
him.
even doing commentary.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so he would like bite people and stuff. And yeah, so the Duke was also how I discovered wrestling was staged
Oh
because
no.
he took quite a beating from Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and then when the way you left the ring there was you just kind of walked out, and then there was like swinging doors with a window in the swinging doors, and he's like staggering out the swinging doors, and the moment he got on the other side of the door, you could see him in the window kind of perk up and just walk away. I was like, "Come on, Duke," and so then it's like, and I think I had some bets with some friends at school because I was like insisting that it was real, and they were like, "No, it's staged," and I had to pay off those bets when I got back to school on Monday, and I was like, "All right, you guys were right."
Yeah, I remember when you first heard like, and first I'm like, but how? How can they like? Now it's like, well, of course they could, but it's like I don't know. When I first started, I'm like, no, I mean, like, okay, maybe they know something or like a little bit, but it's like no, 100% of it is
Right.
mapped out. Or like they know what's going to happen, and they're not.
Right.
But when I first started, I'm like, no, there can't be. Why?
Well, the thing I remember my grandfather explaining to me was that because they're so big, they can actually like hit each other in the chest and or they can land on the mat and it's not going to hurt like the way it would hurt like a normal person. And that kind of made sense. I was like, okay, because I was like, they're really slapping each other, like that's really happening.
Right.
But it's like, that was like I think what was it the reality show on MTV where they were picking like the new wrestler or the new
Tough
W.
enough. Yeah.
Yeah, tough. Yeah, and I think like Terry Funk and them were doing like their own like chest slaps to each other, and seeing like who had the worst chest, and the kind of like putting the poor kids through the paces where they're all getting the slaps.
Yeah.
And so yeah, so it's like there's real physicality in it. There's like but it's like when you're that big you can take a little bit more of a punch than you can land it and smack your back on something or go through a chair or something, get a chair to the back or something a little bit more easily than if I took a chair to the back, even a fake chair to the back, but it would still, if you hit me in the back, even if you were just pretending, it would still hurt quite a
Oh
bit.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I the one I think I'm when Randy Savage dropped the bell on
Yeah.
Ricky Steamboat's throat,
Right.
I was
Yeah.
like, okay, there's no way they could have faked that.
Right. Right.
And then it's like then you think about it now, it's like, well then shouldn't he have been like freaking arrested?
Right. 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 Well, I
Because
guess.
that's like attempted murder then at that point.
Right. Right.
But
You
I'm like,
know,
I mean, yeah, how could they have I don't know. I
yeah.
don't know. I'm so
It's like when the Undertaker locked Ultimate Warrior in the coffin and they had to like drill it open or whatever,
yeah.
and
Get
the
some
way they
they're getting some air in there at least.
exactly. It was like the explanation after was like, well, the Undertaker and Paul Bearer they didn't know it was airtight. It was they're bad, you know. It's like
Yeah,
that's why we're not
because they
calling the
made that
cops.
airtight sound. Remember when
Right,
they turned that
exactly.
thing in and went
Right,
like a vacuum
exactly.
seal?
Right, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. And then they were giving the Ultimate Warrior CPR, you know, and yeah,
Oh
so
yeah,
yeah, boy, yeah. I can't remember if that was a weekend or if that was like a, yeah.
that was still when it was Saturday mornings.
Yeah, because it was one of those things where it all built to the. I mean, obviously it all built to the pay-per-view now, but it was it was one of those things where it was like, because like my birthday always fell near WrestleMania, so a lot of times that
Right.
would be my birthday present. My parents would get WrestleMania, and I could have some friends over for it, and we could get pizza or whatever. Whereas the other pay-per-views, it would be more like, okay, it'd have to be a group of parents getting together to, or maybe there might be one intrepid parent, group of parents who would be willing to pay for the whole freight, or you'd have to give, my parents would give me money to bring over for it or something like that. Oh, the other thing I forgot is I had a friend who had a scrambler box, and so he had all the pay-per-view events for free. So that's right. So I would pay for WrestleMania obviously because that was my birthday one, but yeah, he would get the other ones for free.
Hmm.
Yeah. So that's how I watched Showdown in Little Tokyo as well because it was on the pay-per-view channel.
Ah,
He had it for
yeah.
free. So
And
yeah.
yet somehow the Minion ranks higher for you.
No. Showdown's number one. So
Okay, all
yes.
right.
No, the Minion's number five. The Showdown's number one. So yeah.
Okay.
But it
Well, there's some sense to your list.
exactly. Yeah. So I guess is getting back to Golden Dragon, Silver Snake. We're at the point now, I guess, where the baddies have plotted to force Julian and her uncle to sign away their rights to the farm.
Right.
And so they've got this stealth mission where they are going to invade the farm at night slash during the day. Godfrey Ho was not great for the whole day for night kind of thing. But also it's really hard to tell where everything is happening because there's the one like house area where the Humphrey Bogart guy is having a sword fight in the dark with the uncle, which again goes out into the balcony where it's bright, daytime. It's like the sweeper, right, where it goes from
Yeah.
daytime and then it's nighttime suddenly. But then also the baddies bring in Julian, and so we think that's happening at the same time that these other forces are invading the farm, and Golden Snake and or Golden Dragon. I knew I was going to do that. Golden Dragon and Silver Snake wake up, and they start fighting these henchmen and defeating them. And I don't know about you, but I thought they were going to save the uncle and
Right. Yeah.
Julian. Yeah, but
But
no.
the fight with the uncle where the phone rings
Oh, that's right. That's
and the
right.
bad guy answers it. He's oh no, she's already asleep.
Right. Yes. And
Like,
then he's
why would
using the
he
phone.
be the one to answer it? What?
Right, exactly. And then he's using the phone to defend against the
Of
sword.
course. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a beautiful thing. It's the kind of thing that you get in a movie like this where it's just like this wacky idea, but it's kind of cool as well that he's using it to defend against the sword. So it's like this goofiness, but yet also this cool thing.
Yeah. Like, that seems like the type of thing that like that they were coming up with as they were going. Like, wouldn't it be
Right.
funny if I answer the phone
Right,
and
exactly.
then use the phone to like, yeah, good on them. It's like, wow, that was like I rewound that. I'm like, did that really just happen? Yes,
Right.
most certainly did.
And I wonder because it was for Julie and the phone call was for Julie. I wonder if maybe one of her girlfriends was on a date that night and
Yeah.
she was calling to say how the date went. Because why are you calling? I mean, that was the thing. I don't know about you. Growing up, it was like, man, that late night phone call. When the phone rang after a certain hour, it was kind of a scary thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I wouldn't even think of calling someone for you because yeah, you would think, oh, if someone's calling this late, something bad has happened.
Yeah, because we watched Uncle Buck recently, and you get
Yes.
that early moment where the mother-in-law or the father-in-law is on his deathbed, we think, even though he ends up being okay, I guess.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert for people who haven't seen Uncle Buck yet, but right. But I remember having like this sort of cringy feeling recently when I was watching it when the dad is calling like the neighbor and
Oh
other
yeah.
people at like 2 in the morning to see if they'll watch the kids, and it's like man, I mean, imagine being another parent, getting a call at 2:30 in the morning, half asleep and being like, no, I can't take care of your kids. No, I'm sorry. You're your crazy brother who lives in Chicago's got to do it for you.
And he did.
And he
And
did.
everybody came out the better for it.
Exactly. It all worked. It all worked well. Yeah, except for Jay Norwood. Is that his name? The guy who ended up playing
Yeah.
Johnny Storm in the Fantastic Four.
Yes. The
Right?
Corman
Yeah,
version. Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he didn't. He was a little bit of a sex pest anyway, so
Right,
he got
exactly.
what he deserved.
Exactly. Exactly. Yes. Yeah. But the late night phone call, I guess, to your point, like about, they probably just thought of that. I mean, I wonder if somebody was like, got a late night phone call and thought like, oh, let's incorporate a late night phone call into this fight scene that we really can't see that well, because it's so dark. But, we know we can hear the sounds of the blades hitting each other. So we know there's a fight going on.
Yeah, maybe it was like you said, a girlfriend, but maybe she was like, "Hey, has Silver Snake made any move on you yet?"
Right. That could be too. That
Because
could
maybe
be.
she really has been secretly pining for, but she's just like waiting for him to make the first move.
Right, right. But we do see that she has a thing for Golden Dragon when he
Yeah,
shows
she
up.
sure does, and we'll get into more of that later. But
Yeah,
it's very
exactly.
it's very heartbreaking.
Yes. But well, again, the fight doesn't go well. So what we discover is that they've been taken somewhere.
Yes,
They're
to a
like
boiler room of some description.
boiler, exactly, where they're being kept, and the whole thing is they've got to agree to sign some paper, and then at the same time, our heroes who've dispatched the baddies, they've called in the fuzz. There's a police detective who's there, but Silver Snake is pretty adamant that you can't do. I don't. Was it Silver Snake or Golden Dragon? One of the two was like adamant that you couldn't do anything against these gangs because they didn't have any proof yet. They needed proof first.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember. Yeah, but they were like, "Oh, we know this, we know, but we don't have the proof. We think these are the people who did this. We think this, we think that." Yeah,
Yeah.
they were very. They watched too much Law and Order back then. They knew that they didn't even exist yet. But yeah, they were on top of that situation. It wasn't the cop telling them like, "Well, do you have any evidence of that?" Well, there's nothing I can do.
Yeah.
But this cop, he wasn't following the rules. I don't know what this cop was doing. What maybe we'll find out what this
Well,
cop
yes.
was doing.
Right. What could this cop possibly be? Yeah, he seems like he's an above the board guy, right? He seems like,
Yes,
yeah,
right.
right. I mean, you think, okay, this is a lifeline for our heroes that he might bring the authorities in to help out with this. So we'll put a pin in that. We'll see what happens with him. Now, I'm trying to think. So we have the baddies essentially torturing the old man. Like they're just beating
Yeah.
the crap out of this poor old guy, and they're trying to get him to sign this thing, and he's not signing it. Eventually, they take him. Oh no, our heroes invade the space, and
Yes, because Dragon Lee disguises himself as a telephone
that's
repairman,
right. That's right.
which the outfit for a telephone repairman is a blue shirt and like a bucket hat.
Right, right. And, and it's interesting because you've got to imagine if you were the Humphrey Bogart guy and just a few days earlier somebody shows up with a rickshaw and you're like, I didn't order a rickshaw. What the hell is this? And now somebody's showing up saying, I'm here to fix your phone. And you're like, what is going on here? Why are these people all showing up to do all this stuff? This is, but yeah, he finds out, no, it's Golden Dragon. And so he's like dispatching that, they're dispatching these guys, and they also get into the workout room where some of the big guys are.
Right, you
And
got the shirtless glistening guys.
right, exactly. Oh, did I forget? I missed before this. I completely missed uh what's his name? Oh man, I can't believe I missed this. I think it's before he takes the job at the farm. The fight with Patrick Reynolds.
Oh
Or
yeah.
yeah, so Patrick Reynolds, who was about like 6'5" or something. I don't know. He's a good amount taller than anybody else in the gang that he's with. But they encounter, or they confront Golden Dragon, and Golden Dragon just beats the crap out of poor Brian Patrick Reynolds. And Reynolds has some good moves too. He's got some nice kicks and everything. But yeah, he beats the crap out of him, and Reynolds is back there with his mustache and he's like got bandages all over him and a cast on his leg. And he's like, yeah, I'm getting a flight home right now. The flight attendants will take care of me on the flight. And they're like, what? What?
Right.
You're going to leave in that state? No, no, no. The flight attendants will take care of me. And he's like, I'm out of here. I'm going back to America.
Yeah, just another random thing in the movie where I guess they wanted to put flight attendants over. I don't know.
Right, exactly, exactly. I completely forget. It's like as we were going from getting Golden Dragon his job.
Right.
Yeah, because while he's beating up Patrick Reynolds, the gang is back at the restaurant smashing the restaurant
Oh
apart
yeah,
because
they are.
yeah, he's not there to help, I guess. Um, so now so Patrick Reynolds is out of the picture, but the other gang is there, and he's like he beats up the work the bodybuilder guy, and he saves Julian. He
Yes.
rescues her. At the same time, the uncle has been taken to the lair
The,
of the baddie.
yes.
Yeah. And the baddie says, "Hey, you know what, old man, you're free to go. We'll give you a boat that'll get you across the river, and you'll be all
Right. Yeah,
set."
they're like, oh, this is the big boss now. All right.
Right? Yeah.
I want your land. I'm not selling it. Well, then there's nothing I can do about it.
Right.
You're free to go. And they're like, just walk down this path to the where the boat will take you across. This is one of my favorite scenes of the film as he walks right into a booby trap.
And the movie tells us, okay, there might be something up with this, but they aren't they aren't really upfront about it right away. So it's not like, okay, this is going to be a bad thing right away. But you get
Right.
a sense that but as he's walking, the next thing we see like these like pink stripes on the ground.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, there's no reason for there to be pink stripes there. And then just as he's about to cross the pink stripes, we see spikes on either side of him.
Mm,
And I feel bad because unfortunately the uncle gets it here, so we can set this booby trap up later, which I don't know that this booby trap needed a setup later. I think, it would have been okay if he just escaped it later, but that poor uncle, his last however many hours on the planet were not great.
yeah. He gets sandwiched between the spikes, and then they put him in a suitcase
Right?
and drop him off at the back at the farm, back
Yeah.
at the ranch. Yeah.
No. No, and so at this point, okay, our heroes know we got to take these guys out. At the same time, the big boss is throwing a party
Yeah, for
for
Mr. Ma. Yeah.
Mr. Yeah.
Kung
And
Tao.
so this is everybody's going to be in their best outfits for this party, and he also gives Mr. Ma his
The
cat as a
cat.
gift.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I that makes me wonder, does he just always have cats that look like that and he was just handing out one that he had that was
Possibly.
extra?
Yeah.
Or did he give his actual cat away?
Well, he has the cat again later, but
Right.
me, I don't know. Yeah, maybe he just had a whole litter of them. Who
Yeah.
knows?
Yeah, just it's like Ernest Hemingway's house in Key West where there's just cats everywhere. You
Mhm.
just grab one and put a ribbon on it and give it to people
There
for
you go,
gifts.
folks. Did
Yeah.
you think we would connect this to Ernest Hemingway?
Exactly. Right.
When you
Well,
have a learned scholar as one part of this show, you're going to get that. For me, you're going to get, I don't know, primetime wrestling references, but that's fine.
well, well,
That's what makes the show work.
yes, the other thing is that we were just talking about how much work cats are.
Yeah.
And so you're essentially relegating this poor guy to multiple feedings every day, cleaning litter
Mhm.
boxes. I mean, I guess maybe back then, maybe that in China back then, you wouldn't think, or in Hong Kong, you wouldn't do litter boxes and that kind of thing. You just like let them outside and
Yeah.
give them milk and scraps of food and stuff. Like it wasn't like it is today, where it's like I gotta order
It
from
wasn't, yeah,
Chewy.
there wasn't an industry around pets
Right?
at that point.
Yeah, yeah. So having a cat at that time actually was not a burden. It was just like, oh, we got a cat. Now it's like, yeah,
They tell you when it's time to eat.
right,
10:30, time to eat.
exactly,
Yes.
exactly. They know exactly what their food time is. I think the best one recently was we took our cat. He was having trouble going to the bathroom. We took him to the emergency vet, and I was sitting there for a good 3 hours while they were figuring out what they wanted to do. And I was wearing a button-up flannel shirt, but it was kind of like a little bit on the nicer side, I guess, as a flannel shirt goes. And I had, khaki pants on as opposed to jeans. So I guess I must have looked a little bit better than, like, I don't know. I think they were trying to figure out what I would be willing to pay for our cat's care. And so the guy comes in and he's like, the vet, and he's like, well, we think your cat's got a heart murmur. I'm like, okay, so what does that mean? He's like, well, what we could do is we could keep him here for the next 48 hours, have the medication specialist, because he's on thyroid meds, and the heart specialist take a look at him. That'll run you probably 45 to 6 grand, 4,500 to 6 grand. I'm like, yeah, do we got a plan B? What's our plan B? So he's like, okay, well, plan B is we keep him for 24 hours, have the heart specialist look at him. That's probably going to run you about 3,200. I'm like, all right, yeah, we got to keep going here. What's our next thought? He's like, well, I mean, you could have your vet check him out, and we'll just charge you for the emergency vet. And I'm like, all right, let's do that one. So, but it was like, I think while I was sitting there, I didn't have an outfit on that said either this guy's got money or this guy doesn't have money. So they had to feel me out. They had to figure out
Yeah.
where I would be willing to go. And again, this is something that Mr. Ma is not, there is no emergency vet in
No.
the early 80s that's going to be charging Mr. Ma, 6 grand to see his cat. And I mean, there probably weren't cat heart specialists at that time either, I don't think.
I would doubt it. And you know what you should have been wearing is a DTVC
I
t-shirt.
should have with holes in it that my
Yeah.
iron fingers put holes in it. And
Mm-hmm.
at that point they would have been like, yeah, we're lucky if we're going to get the emergency room fee out of
Yeah.
this guy. Let's get,
Here's a sample of 9 lives. Get the hell out of here.
exactly. Exactly. That would have been it. We wouldn't have to go through plans A and plans B. Yeah, I need to be more obvious next time. I'm gonna, yeah.
Give the cat some X-Lax, and if that doesn't make shit, then yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, Mr. Ma, he's not, yeah, there's no cat heart specialist that was going to charge him,
Yeah, but
six.
yeah, they had a nice spread there for him.
They did.
There was a band, and you
Mhm.
got to see Chung Tao getting down. You got to see
Yes.
Afro Man getting down.
Right. Right.
It was so good, and I was almost upset that the car horn interrupted the proceedings
Right.
as our boys Golden Dragon and the Silver Snake show up to crash the party, and they've got them a casket like strapped to the top of their car as a gift.
Right. Yeah, it's the perfect way to crash the party, I guess. But I at first I thought it was going to be something macabre, like they were going to have the uncle in there and be like,
Yeah.
yeah, we got your gift for you. Here's the guy you killed, a little while ago. But no, they just, and I guess these guys, I mean, the problem is these guys were all dressed to the nines for this party. And now they've got to get into a fight. They weren't looking for a fight. Whereas, Silver Snake and Silver Snake's in his usual shirt and jeans that he's always got on. But Golden Dragon also, again, he's got his Mike Brady architect plans holder on his back, which we find out is his baseball bat's in there. But otherwise, they're pretty much ready to go. They didn't come dressed for a party. They've come.
Well, yeah, Silver Snake did change. He had the just like a leather vest on now.
Oh, that's right. That's right. That's
He
right.
had his like final fight outfit on, and yeah,
That's
where
right.
Golden Dragon had his like Game of Death ish jumpsuit, but instead of yellow and black, it's yellow and red, and yes,
Yes.
his Mike Brady architect holder. Um, but yeah, so they're there, and they're like, okay, you want some? Come get some. And these guys get on these rafts
Right.
and just surf over to them.
Yes.
And thus begins just this massive final fight. That they use again. They're using they're in like a resort type area. They've got pools and picnic tables and uh, playground area for the kids. There's video games you see in the background, primitive video games. It's probably
Yeah.
like Pong back there, and maybe a Space
Well, I
Invader.
was wondering, were those video games or were they slot machines? Because that was like,
True. It could be.
yeah.
One looked like a video game for sure, but who knows? It could have been
No,
video slot machine. I don't know.
yeah, which they have, you can play video slot here in Philadelphia and 7-Eleven. So, the 7-Eleven has two machines. I have yet to partake in it, but
Hmm.
yeah, it's an interesting idea. There's also like a stand, like a cigarette, like like snack stand that also has one of those things in it. So it's like, yeah, I guess so. Hey, maybe that's the same idea, in China, you just, or in Hong Kong, you just throw those machines up everywhere and just go for it.
Well, yeah, I think this was Korea. I think they
That's right,
shot
Korea.
this in
That's right.
Korea.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we get that, they're using the playground stuff,
Right.
and
Yes.
that comes in later too. But
Yeah.
we get a lot of that. They take a lot of the low level minions out before we start splitting off into these other fights. And yeah, we've got the is this where we get onto the, or no, we get Silver Snake fighting Drill Man
Yes. Right.
by the
Right.
car.
Yes. Yeah. And at some point he
Or
throws him
no,
the
no, it's Silver. Yeah, Silver Snake first. He's fighting by the picnic tables, I think,
That's right.
first, and then they
Yeah.
make their way to the car.
Yeah.
And yeah, he goes through one window, and then he goes through the back door is open. He gets thrown in the back seat, and we never see Silver Snake again. Did he
No.
die from the? I don't think I didn't see him. Like that's another thing. When I rewatched it, I'm like, did he? I should reread my review. Did I say anything about like what happened to Silver Snake?
Right, because that's it. He disappears, and then now I was trying to think, when does our hero give Bogart his drill?
Yeah, it's right after
Right,
Silver Snake gets thrown in the back seat. Then Golden Dragon shows up, and he's like, "All right, motherfucker, let's do this thing." And
right.
then yeah, Mr. Ma throws
That's
the
what it is.
drill
Right.
in the air,
Yeah.
and Bogart gets it. So it's like, oh, he's gonna get drilled. No, no, he turns the drill against him. So
Right.
now Bogart's dead. Silver Snake dead in the back seat. Took a nap. I don't know what he's doing, but he's
Right.
not seen anymore. So
No.
now it's down to Golden Dragon and Mr. Ma,
Yeah.
and we get into the boat. We're fighting on a boat, but first, uh, Golden Dragon is like on the front of the boat. He's not in the boat, and Mr. Ma takes off, so he's got to balance himself. He's like a dog in a moving car. He can't stand up. It's, but yeah, we're on the boat for a while, and
Yeah.
it's like that's a very unique scene from a kung fu movie.
Right. It's like boat foo because he's like spinning the boat around so he
Yep.
knocks Golden Dragon off into the water. Golden Dragon will come out of the water, come back after him. And again, if that was Mike Brady's architecture plans, they're done at this point.
Yeah.
They are
Yeah.
waterlogged. Fortunately, it's an aluminum bat, which is okay for that. But and then the other thing too, Mr. Ma has shown off that he's got iron fingers, and
Yes.
so he's that guy that like can get a hold of you and like break the skin when he grabs you.
Mm-hmm.
He's and I think these movies, there's always one guy that can do that, and 'cause I guess they like the idea of it because you can't even let this guy touch you.
Yeah.
That's the thing. And so yeah, so when it's on the boat, it's like he gets back on the boat and then the iron fingers are coming for him and he's like got to block those. And then just when he thinks he's doing okay, Mal spins the wheel on the boat and throws him back in the water. Yeah, it's a constant back and forth with that.
Yeah, it goes on for a while and then it doesn't. Then it just stops. And
Right.
then Dragon Lee is like by like a little amphitheater type thing or something. And he's like,
Right.
Ma, where are you, Ma? And and then we get this guy in a wheelchair
Right.
with a shawl over his head.
Right.
Who are you? Well, can't you tell I'm a blind cripple?
Right.
Oh, well, what are you doing here? I'm looking after the garden. How are you looking after anything? You're blind and you're crippled. And he's like, oh, you're not gonna. I don't know. He's just there, and we're
Yeah.
like, all right, this is strange. But then Mr. Ma does show up again, and we get another. We're now in between we're in the trees. We're in the down the path with the booby traps.
Yeah, yeah.
And but unlike old poor Uncle Suitcase, um, Dragon Lee's a little bit quicker than the boards with spikes. But then they also drop like a box on top of him, and he like smashes both the sides at the same time, and then pops out the front.
Yeah.
Miles like, what the this guy? What the hell? You could just see his face, like, oh no.
Yeah, the box didn't work. Right. Which it looks like some kind of like Wile E. Coyote like
Right, like you're
trap that
right, you're
didn't
catching a
work.
rabbit, yeah, or
Right.
you're trying to catch the roadrunner, right?
Yeah, and it ended up falling on him. It's just like the way it fell, it just boomed, and I guess these movies probably did pull from some of that. They kind of, liked, I mean, there's a lot of action in a Looney Tunes cartoon.
There certainly is, yeah.
Yeah, I guess they pulled from that, but then that's kind of it for the booby traps, I think, right? Like those,
Yep,
just those
that's it.
two.
And then
Yeah,
yeah, so then he takes out Ma at that point, I'm thinking. And then that's when wheelchair guy is falling and he can't get up.
right.
And you see the cat run off as
Right.
Dragon Lee heads over to help.
Yes.
And then guess what, folks? He wasn't a blind cripple. He was the guy pretending to be a cop earlier. And he was the big boss all along.
Yeah. And he's got spikes on his shoes.
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
And he keeps, and that works because he gets air and he comes down and he gets Dragon Lee every time. That poor jumpsuit is all tore up. He's bloody. And yeah, it's not an easy win for our man, the Golden Dragon.
Well, because I mean, one of the things they're in the playground again, and he's
Right? And
using
he uses the
the
teeter totter.
the spring-loaded teeter-totter. He's
Yeah,
just jumping on that, coming down. It's a mess. And we get to this point where we're like, all hope is lost. Like, how is he going to win this fight? He's obviously outmatched. He can't deal with these spiked shoes. But Rickshaw Man shows up. Now, does he show up
right.
to help fight?
No,
Not
he
really.
throws baseballs.
Right, right. Yes. Now, I forgot that Silver Snake threw eggs at the Humphrey
Yeah,
Bogart guy to
yeah.
bring that back as well.
That was in the when they were by the picnic tables.
Yeah. So we did get a call back to that as well, but this was the baseball callback that I had completely forgot to look for. I had completely forgot because he never picks up a baseball bat at any other point in the movie. It's just that
Right.
one moment where he's getting, his new boss is giving him a hard time for messing around. But I mean, one uh, uh, rickshaw guy is really great at throwing batting practice.
Mm-hmm.
He's putting the ball exactly where Golden Dragon needs it, and then Golden Dragon is perfect at just like nailing. He's just hitting perfect line drives and just nailing them off of the big bad guy's head.
And then yeah, I think at some point it dawns on him. Well, why don't I just go over there and hit him directly with the bat?
Right, right, exactly, and I mean that works out well too. That's a great fight as well with the aluminum bat, and then
Yeah, he's like breaking his legs. Like you're not gonna use those spiked feet on me anymore, you bastard.
exactly. And the big bad's got, what does he have, like sais or like little knives that he's using?
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, it like you said, I mean, when you're watching the movie, I mean, this is probably like the whole last 20 minutes of the
Oh
movie
yeah.
is all this
Yeah.
stuff.
That's why I like when I'm doing the count the bastards, it's like you need those front loaded bastards because the ends are so often, and he did slip a bastard in towards the end here. I think
Yes.
when he reveals that he was, oh, you bastard. But
Right.
if you don't get them, you don't know. Sometimes you don't have any real dialogue in
Yeah.
like the last 20 minutes of these movies because it's just fight, 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 fight. And you certainly get that here, and and then some, because again, not all of them have spring-loaded teeter-totters and boxes that fall from the trees and spike walls and whatnot. So, but yeah, he busts them up real good with the bat. He's done, and then he's like, Rickshaw Man's like, "Hey, take a look," and it's Julian, and she's like, and he's like, "Oh yeah," and I'm again. Earlier, he's like, "Oh, I'll help you get her, Silver Snake," And then no, he's going to take her for herself. But again, we don't know what the hell happened to Silver Snake. But
Right.
neither he or if it's something bad, nobody seems too tore up about it. That's the sad thing.
Right. Right. Because Golden Dragon's just laughing. He's like, oh, all right,
I'm gonna get some tonight.
Yeah. Even though his face is covered in scratches from the big bad's spiked
Right.
shoes, but hey, that's really how they end the movie. Is just him.
Him
The
smiling,
close up. Yeah.
and then a red screen. The end.
The end. Yeah. Now that's one of the problems with watching it on YouTube is that because of the whole suggested videos, it it covers up a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, which is too bad because I mean, like that face of his would be the perfect screenshot for the thumbnail for this episode. I mean, there's plenty of shots that I can pull for the thumbnail.
I could try. I can pop in tough guys of kung fu and
Oh,
see if
right, you might be yes, okay.
get you a nice screenshot
Oh,
of
okay, perfect.
that
Yeah,
beautiful smiling Dragon
yeah,
Lee as
exactly.
he knows he's about to bed his friend's woman.
Right,
Well, it wasn't
exactly.
really his friend's woman, but it was his friend's crush.
Right.
He's gonna
Yeah.
crush his friend who's, I don't know, possibly dead in the back seat of a car or just snoozing. Who knows?
Exactly. Well, because that's the thing with these movies, and I guess this is something that happens in the direct-to-video world as well, is that you just, people are there for certain times, they're not there for other times, and suddenly it's just like, oh, they're not in this movie. It's
But
like
you
that,
would think a movie. And again,
right?
you know, I'm sure when it was conceived, it was not called Golden Dragon Silver Snake. I'm sure that was for our purposes over here to
Right.
sell the movie. But it's like the movie is called Golden Dragon Silver Snake. It's like a team up. You would think both of these guys at the end would be like, "Oh, we did it."
Right.
It'd be like a Lethal Weapon halfway through. Danny Glover just stopped showing up.
Right. I was
Just
thinking,
Mel Gibson at the end, like, "Up, I did it."
right, right. I was thinking Tango and Cash too,
Or
as
yeah,
well.
well,
Like,
yeah, because that's in the name. Yeah, we just have Tango, but no cash.
right, exactly. It's just sort of like Kurt Russell, just like, last, like 10 minutes of the movie, he just disappears and, that's it. And Sylvester Stallone gets Terry Hatcher at the end and but that's it. We don't know what happened to Kurt Russell. I mean, I think if that happened, right? Imagine if that did happen with Tango and Cash. Like imagine watching Siskel and Ebert at that time with them
Oh,
talking about that movie and just being like, now maybe my impression, my Seinfeld impression is better for Roger Ebert here. He's like, I don't know, Gene, like why did Kurt Russell just disappear from the movie? I can't make heads of tails of it. I've got to give this a thumbs down. Yeah, you know what, Gene? Roger, I agree with you on that. I also did not like the fact that he just disappeared for the last 10 minutes of the movie.
I felt like I went in a time machine just there. My word.
Yeah, there are a lot of old Siskel and Eberts on YouTube. Because I watched the one from '84 or '84, '85 when they reviewed Red Dawn. And so,
Ah,
yeah, and the funny thing about Red Dawn was that they were perfectly fine with everything about the movie except for the fact that they became like these like essentially like well-trained soldiers.
yeah.
They wanted, it blew my mind because the moment you watch Red Dawn, it's like the moment that movie starts, where it's like the guy's giving the history lesson, and suddenly the paratroopers fall down, and then like the kids hanging out of the window because they'd been hosed down by machine gun fire. I don't know how you're taking any of that seriously, but they were okay
Right.
with that stuff.
I have a Siskel and Ebert story to show you what a Star Wars nerd I was
Oh yeah,
back in the day. Like when they reviewed Return of the Jedi, I had my tape recorder and I like put it up to the TV and recorded just so I could have that little like I think they showed like the speeder bike
oh
scene.
yes,
And like I would just be like, oh, I've got the audio from this. And I would listen. What the hell?
yeah.
But yeah, we didn't have VCR. I didn't have a VCR yet.
Right. Those tape recorders worked. My friends and I did that for the movie Bad Taste, the Peter Jackson movie. We love that so much that we did that and we would play it in the car. We'd play like the tape of
There
the
you go.
movie in the
Yeah.
car. Yeah. But that was the thing. I remember we used to do that a lot. Like, you'd have like things that would happen on TV shows, and you just record what was,
Yeah.
and then of course, I don't know if this happened to you, but if it was like in the living room TV, my parents would start talking, and it's like, oh, well, all right, well, there goes that.
Yeah, see, no, this was probably in my TV in my bedroom,
Yeah,
so I had control, and I'd be like, okay,
yeah,
and yeah, I would just until I got to see the movie, I would just keep listening to that audio clip of
yes,
speeder bike
right,
race
yes,
chase. I'm like, what the?
yeah,
That's how much I was ready for it, baby. I was ready for some Return of the Jedi.
yes.
You don't even know.
No, movies, that was the thing, I think, like the way movies are marketed nowadays and the way they come out, it's like that time, because we talked about it a little bit when we were talking about Last Crusade, on your podcast, that like, because that Last Crusade might have been like the last one of those kinds of movies where, you know, oh wow, John Connery's going to be in the next Indiana Jones movie. Like, oh okay, and you can't wait to see it. I mean, I guess technically the Phantom Menace was the last one because everybody couldn't wait to see that, and then they just saw it and
Right.
they were like,
Oh yeah. That was
yeah,
a big one. I was like, oh, here we go.
right,
We're going to recapture that magic. What
yes.
a stupid optimist I am at times.
Yes. I remember my friends and I would go to this diner in Portsmouth, New Hampshire after we'd see a movie and, we'd drink coffee or whatever, smoke cigarettes and talk about how the movie was. And I remember after Phantom Menace, just sitting there and like, we didn't want to, nobody wanted to be the one to say that that movie wasn't that good. Like we didn't, but I think it was my buddy's wife who was just like, it's weird. Normally when we see a movie that we really like, we're all excited about it. Nobody's really excited about that movie.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that wasn't a that was a yeah.
Yeah.
I mean it and the second one is the most forgettable one of them all. Attack of the Clones, is that what it's called?
Hmm.
I don't remember anything about that movie. I think I've saw it in the theater and never saw it again. Phantom Menace, I at least was like, okay, you know what? Maybe I just need to give it another watch because I owned it.
Hmm.
I think I may have owned Attack of the Clones too, but I just never watched it.
Right.
And then by the time Revenge of the Sith hit, I just went on a like Tuesday after opening weekend, was sitting in a theater all by myself watching this movie, and I'm like, yeah, that was okay.
I probably would have done it. So, for Revenge of the Sith, we had a friend who was just adamant about like he wasn't even like a huge Star Wars fan. He was more adamant about like the event of us all going together.
Yeah.
And I remember we had to get tickets because he wanted to get enough tickets for everybody. We had to go to Methuen, Massachusetts, which was like 45 minutes away, and go see the movie there. And I remember my friends and I were like, "Oh, this is actually really good. We liked it." And then another one of my friends saw it separately, and he was like, really, you liked it? What did you like about it? And I was like, that's a good question. I don't, let's,
Right.
like you liked it like the like kid Jedis were being killed. I was like, no, you're
Yeah,
right.
that
That
was my favorite part. No,
exactly, yeah, exactly. What did he say? I guess he said when Darth Vader first sits up and
yeah,
it's James Earl Jones's voice, and he's like, "Where's Padme?" I guess he said when he was in the theater, and because remember James Earl Jones was doing those Verizon commercials at that time.
yes,
When she said, when he said, "Where's Padme?" I guess my friend said he didn't mean to be as loud as it was. He was saying it to his significant other, his I guess girlfriend who would be his wife, and but they're not a couple anymore. I think he said like, has she switched to Verizon? And he didn't mean it for to be as loud as it was, but I guess like the whole crowd heard it, and there were some laughs, but I think other people were so like, "Oh man, it's Darth Vader's first appearance," and here's my buddy
yeah, and this
killing it for
guy,
him. Right? Exactly.
son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I could have said whatever because again, I was the
Right, by
only one in the
yourself.
theater.
Yes.
That's
I
like I had moved to Cincinnati at that point, so that's why like my usual movie going, like I had moved away from them, so I was like,
right,
well,
right. Yeah.
I'm just gonna go on my own, and it was a Tuesday,
Yeah.
because I remember we had a wrestling show that night, and I'm like, oh yeah, I saw it. I had a private screening. And said, oh, look at this guy. I'm like, no, I was the only one in the theater. I'm not trying to be like I was, I'm not trying to be an elitist and acting like I'm something special. I was just like, it was a joke. It was a haha.
Yes. I've yet to have that experience of being the only one. It almost happened for the new version of Silent Night, Deadly Night that was out. And as I was getting through the trailers, I thought, okay, this is going to be it. And then a guy showed up and sat in the front
Yeah.
row. So yeah,
I think it has to be something like a Revenge of the Sith, where it's in like they have
yeah,
9,000 screenings. Like it's not like something like Silent Night, Deadly Night probably did not have a ton
oh
of
no,
showing. So it's like, okay, there's a if somebody wants to see it, they're going to have to see it in 2 or 3 times, and
yeah,
yeah. So we're Revenge of that was probably in 6 different theaters, like every half hour starting.
exactly,
And
yeah.
I just happened to luck out to pick that Tuesday 10 a.m.
Right. And that was up with it. Yeah. I do remember my buddy and I saw Attack of the Clones, and there was only like one or two other people in the theater. So, but what had happened was, so I had seen it with my friends at school in college. And then when I came home, I watched it with him, when it was still kind of new. And then later on that summer, it was one of those deals where it was like a Saturday, and I think our other buddy was working. So we are waiting for him to get out of work and trying to find stuff to do. And we figured, let's just catch a matinee of Attack of the Clones. And it had been out for like 3 or 4 months at that time. And so we sat in the very back and made fart noises the whole time.
Oh, so
Yeah,
mature.
it was like, and it was one of those things like, I don't even think we knew we were going to do that. It was just one of those things where like the other people were sitting so far away that like, it wasn't going to disrupt their viewing. But like my buddy just kind of, he just like, it was one of those things where he just kind of just did one. And it was like, it's kind of like that snowball effect where, okay, he does one, oh, it's kind of funny, that kind of worked. And then the next thing you know, it's just like, every other scene, it's just, somebody says something and then we're just making a sound, it's just, yeah, that was, yeah, it was, and I would say, oh, we were kids, but we were in our early 20s. So I don't,
Hmm.
yeah,
You should be ashamed of yourself, is what you're
exactly,
saying. Yeah,
exactly.
I think I saw It was like maybe one of the only times I did like a midnight.
Mm.
Like my friends like, oh, we should go, and I'm like, all right. So yeah, apparently I didn't learn my lesson from the Phantom Menace. But again, that's the other thing when you're going like, oh yeah, let's go. And I was
Yeah.
a much younger man, so going to the movie at midnight didn't seem like a. Now I'd be like, what the hell are you even on?
Yes. Well, at least if you do a midnight movie, like you can just drive home after.
Right,
Here it's like, well, it's way after the subway's running. So,
right.
I mean, I could gamble on the night bus that's a replacement. I took that one time at 3 in the morning, and I don't think I'll ever do it ever again. So then they got to get the Lyft or Uber, and then it's like, well, okay, where am I going to wait for that thing?
Right.
And other people are probably also getting a Lyft or Uber. So it's like, yeah, it's another reason why the early matinees that I do now, the Saturday morning matinees, it's a safer time to use the subway as well, so I don't have to worry about running into any issues there. Yeah, now I guess I'm trying to think if there's anything we've missed about this Golden Dragon Silver Snake that we as we were going through everything.
I don't think so. So much. We talked about the hat net. We talked about Afro Man. We talked about the baseball. We talked about the table that was paper thin. We talked about Uncle Suitcase. Yeah. Death Wish music. Samuel Walls, thanks for popping in.
Right, right.
Just dropping by, just
Yeah,
entertaining us, entertaining Dragon Lee,
yeah,
before he had to get into finding out who was responsible for killing his brother with a drill.
yeah. I do wonder, like, if the Samuel Wall situation, like it's a shame we don't do that more for art, movies nowadays. Like you look at like a movie like Diablo, where it's really great fight scenes between Adkins and Mark Rosarour, Scott Adkins, Mark Rosarour, and it's really great stuff. And I don't know that I would want to add anything to that, but just just a fight scene just for the hell of it between Adkins and Michael Jai White, just thrown in there for no reasons, or
But that would have even at least made sense because that's
right,
still Adkins.
right, yes, that's
Samuel
good.
Walls was not a character in this movie.
That's right,
It
that's
could be
right.
one thing. You're like, oh yeah, that'd be cool to have like another
Yeah,
main star who just kind of like has a little
yeah,
brush up with Adkins. No,
right,
this is Samuel Walls who had shit to do with anything in this movie,
right,
other than
right,
he has 2 fight scenes that
right,
Dragon Lee apparently is watching, although you never see all the elements on the screen at the same time.
right.
That may be where we should say that was a Godfrey Ho piece of business because he is the cut and paste master.
So I wonder, that's a great point. I didn't even think of that. That the Samuel Wall scene might
Was
have been
something
from,
else from some other movie Godfrey Ho was shooting,
right. Could have been from something else completely.
or it didn't get finished, and like, well, let's not waste. Yeah, maybe one of the film things like that was the only one that survived or something. Who knows? And like, well, we got this fucking footage. We're gonna use it.
Right, exactly.
Well, what's he? Why would he be doing that? They're just fighting, and Dragon
Right,
Lee happens by and watches, and he's like, "Ha, chop chop,
right.
yeah,
So that's really what it's got to be. Is it's got to be, these movies that we see on IMDb that like, like Cynthia Rothrock has like 5 movies that just never get made, or like they just sit there and they're like, you know, in development all this time, or they even have a release date, and then you're like, oh, when can I watch this? And it's like, no, you can't ever watch it because it's never, like if somebody just grabbed those movies and just took the pieces of Cynthia Rothrock from those movies and just inserted them in. I mean, I don't want to cast aspersions on Alexander Nevsky, but I feel like that would be a great way for him to pad out his movies. It's just get the rights to some Cynthia Rothrock movie that never really got released and just pull the pieces and just be like, there's Cynthia Rothrock in this movie. I think I would appreciate that actually.
well, that'd be an old school fix to a modern problem. I don't.
Right. Yeah. 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 It's, I mean, that's the thing about this is that it is a Godfrey Ho movie. I mean, when you think of like Undefeatable or Honor and Glory, which are kind of, more straight ahead movies. But even those have ridiculous moments in them where you're just like, where did Godfrey Ho come up with this? Like in Honor and Glory, where Donna Jason's character is a reporter, and a woman who says that Donna Jason, as the reporter, I guess, slandered her father as a congressman, just attacks her with a knife in the street. And then once Donna Jason dispatches her, that's it. There's
Yeah,
no police called. There's no, nobody's getting arrested for this. It's just like she attacks her with a knife. Donna Jason defeats her. Move on to the next thing.
yeah, that's like old school kung fu logic.
Right, right.
Like you just settled it with a fight, and you move. You didn't need to get the law involved.
Well, because also too, like, what could, the law could be like in this movie, right? He could be pretending to be the good guy when he was the baddie all along.
Yeah, he's pretending to be the law, just like Bogart was pretending to be from the tourist board. Yeah, there's a lot of fakery in this one.
Yes, yeah, exactly. And I guess too, I mean, I don't know if I'm giving away the part of the end of Captain America Civil War for people who haven't seen that, but you've got the I can't remember the character's name, but she's helping them in like what is it called? Madripoor or whatever, the kind of the whole island that's like an entire like, renegade outlaw island or whatever. And then we find out that actually she's been running the show the whole time. That she's the baddie that's running the whole thing. Yeah, you wonder if somebody watched this movie and said, "Hey, that's a great idea." That the cop that's helping them is actually the bad guy that's running the whole thing the whole time.
Yes, that's 100% what happened,
They got it
sir.
right from this.
They were watching the Wu-Tang channel one night.
Yes. Kevin Feige. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I wonder what that old dirty bastard has posted on the Wu-Tang channel. Oh, this movie looks good. It's the thumbnail has this guy with a baseball bat.
Right.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. You've uncovered a little known fact.
Yeah.
Thank you very
I
much.
should put it in the trivia on IMDb.
Yeah, and then
Um,
list all other trivia on your post, please.
exactly.
Copy and paste all 300 pieces of trivia about Civil War on a post, because that makes it real fun for the reader.
Yes,
Please do that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I mean, I a lot of times I'll go through the trivia of a movie if I'm going to talk about it
Right.
and it's like the things that people put for trivia isn't really trivia. It's like, oh, Chris Evans also starred in this movie with this person as well, and
Right.
it's like that's not trivia. That's like Kevin Bacon game. Like I don't,
Right. Right.
it's like,
Or sometimes it's like the same thing is on there 10 times, just worded differently.
right, that too. Yeah.
Like read it before you add. Like, didn't you see that somebody already mentioned that this was completely filmed at Pinewood Studios?
Exactly, exactly. I wonder if it's the same thing as like the person who has to go to an old like go to like an 80s video on YouTube, like for a 80s music video and say, "Who's listening to this in 2026?" And it's
I love
like
it.
yeah, I feel like I have to downvote every time I see one of those, but I wonder if it's the same idea of like I just have to put something on here that's going to get like likes or whatever. And
Yeah.
you know,
Oh, people need it.
yeah.
I need the acknowledgement, the
Yeah.
affirmation. I have to say something. People have to respond to something
Right,
with
right.
anything, no matter what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. This idea, who's here in 2026? It's like, I'm listening to this song. What do you mean? Am I here in 2026? It's like, I just want to hear Voices Carry by Till Tuesday. I just,
Right.
yeah. And I didn't stop liking that song in, 2016. It wasn't like, boy, you know what? I don't think I ever want to listen to Voices Carry ever again. I don't ever
I
need to
want to
hear
listen to it right now,
right.
honestly.
Right. Well, who's here in 2026 listening to what, but it's like,
Me.
yeah, right. Like it wasn't like I decided I didn't want to listen to it at some point. It's like I've just always listened to Voices Carry. I've always liked that song. Um, but even if I just suddenly decided 40 years after it came out, like, oh, hey, I haven't heard Voices Carry in a while. Why don't I play that? It's like, who's here in 2026? It's like, I just want to listen to Voices. It's not like some big major thing that I've decided I'm going to listen to Voices Carry 40 years after it came out. It's not like it suddenly stopped being a good song.
Yeah, take that, you bastards.
Right, exactly. You,
You
you
fucking
YouTube
pissed off the
bastards.
DTVC, and now you're gonna hear about it.
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
like a
Who's here?
festivus for the rest of us. Air your grievances, sir.
Exactly, exactly. How did this even happen? Where did it? Oh, because we were talking about the trivia, the IMDb trivia. The other pet peeve I have about the IMDb trivia is that there's always this person who posts these really funny uh, uh, fake trivia about Steven Seagal movies. And I think there are people that report those, and I don't know that it's necessarily Steven Seagal either. A lot of times I'll see them, like the fake trivia ones, and they'll have a bunch of like thumbs down on them, and it's like, who is going through Steven Seagal trivia and being angry that there's like one that says, well, Steven Seagal couldn't get his morning or his breakfast Ben and Jerry's, or whatever the different jokes are about Steven Seagal being overweight and making these movies. Like, who's going through them being like, well, I don't like that they made that. That didn't happen. No, I'm going to give that a thumbs down. It's like, this is part of the fun of the Steven Seagal movie is the person who makes the fake trivia.
Perhaps it's LeVar Burton, host of Trivial Pursuit on the CW Thursdays at 8.
Yeah, that could be. That could be LeVar Burton. If it is, I don't know how I'd feel about that because I like LeVar Burton,
Well,
but
but he respects the trivia. Is what
yeah,
I'm saying. Even if it's mocking someone who may deserve some mockery,
yes, yeah,
trivia is key and is what he holds most dear to his heart.
right, right. And so
That and reading, obviously, he's a big fan of reading.
yeah. Yeah, well, obviously I can appreciate that. I can, reading, I think
Right.
is good.
If you want to read something, folks, have you heard about the new book, Mark and Sales?
Yes. I would be remiss. Well, if
I
people
would
are
be
listening to
remiss if I did not mention in the cold open that
this,
I have
I
a
have a new
brand new
book out.
book, Mark and Sales.
Hmm.
It's about a man who sells cut rate health insurance and he realizes the effects it's having on the people and the companies and even his own soul.
Yeah, yeah,
And then to make matters even worse, his company offers him the promotion he's always wanted.
yeah.
What's the man to do? There's only one way to find out. Check out Mark and Sales on Amazon. You can get
Yes,
it in a Kindle form or in paperback.
exactly, exactly. And the cold open, it's I feel like I gotta say it on the cold open, but
Yeah, you
yeah,
do. I've
it
heard it many, many
it's
times.
always in yeah. I mean, eventually I'll have another book out
Right.
some point this year. It will replace the Mark and Sales cold open mention, and so then it'll be the new book, whatever
I mentioned Mark and Sales on my enemy territory podcast, and people I didn't go as in deep detail as I just did here, but I did mention it because that is also a movie about an insurance salesman
Right, right.
who finds himself in enemy territory.
Yeah. Yeah, the funny thing is that Amazon finally fixed like the categories for it because originally if you go to Amazon and it would be like similar titles to Mark and Sales, it would all be these like self-help books on how to be better at sales.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like that's not what finally it's now there's like actual like, fiction books put with
Right.
it. For the longest, I was like, oh, and it's like you have to make this decision, I guess. It's like, do you want the title to be something different because Amazon won't, put it with the wrong types of books? Or it's like, that's the title I want for the book. And, how many more sales am I going to get
Mm.
if they get that right? It's two, maybe one or two more books potentially. I don't know if so it's like, yeah, it's like you got to make these decisions on your titles, like what works and what doesn't.
Perhaps he should do one called Tough Guys of Kung Fu. And
Yeah, because
maybe.
when people go, they're gonna find the DVD instead. That happened with the second my second novel, A Girl and a Gun. I didn't even consider that would be an issue, and yeah, it's like all these like 10 DVD sets of girls and guns.
I bet John Cross owns it.
Yeah,
I bet he does.
he does. He does. He buys each one. So yeah, he's got the whole. He's got the old versions of my first three books where.
Yeah, I know he owns. I'm talking. He owns the Guns and Girls DVD
Oh,
collection as
right.
well.
Yes. Yes. He
I know
might.
he's got your books.
Right. Yes, but you're right. You might have to yes, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. I, I want to say I'm not sure if Babcock got that one because he did get one of those collections
Yeah, he
recently.
did. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. Babcock. Yeah, he gets a lot of movies. Oh man, he's get some
Yeah.
movies.
Yeah.
He just posted another thing. He's gonna need to just send those by some sort of freight big shipping container back to his home when he gets.
Right.
He's not gonna be able to take those back with him.
Yeah. He does because he makes out better. Like I go to used DVD places and I just see like 10 copies of Titanic. You,
Right.
and then like he posts and he's got like, oh, I found, this PM Entertainment movie, or I found this, this first season of this syndicated TV show that,
Yeah.
I'd completely even forgotten existed, but I remember watching at 3 in the morning when it was on and enjoying it. Yeah, I mean, he must have a better sense of it.
I think Arkansas only has used DVD stores
Yeah, and
and
good
Mr.
ones
and
apparently.
Mr. Wong's restaurant that no one goes to, and a farm.
Well, and also Bill Clinton's presidential library. You got to have that too.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. It's funny, with the different states that are in, different, like because I don't know about you, but there's like I guess there's a sense I want to go to every state at some point. I want to have been to every state, but it is hard. Like
I don't want to go to Rhode Island, but go on.
yeah, well, see, Rhode Island is one that for me I go to a fair amount because you can go through it. But it's because
You
it's
can go through it
small,
in
but
about 3 minutes. Yeah, go on.
yeah, but it abuts other states. Like I remember I was visiting a coworker who lived near Providence, but it was in Massachusetts, and so I took the train to Providence, and she had other coworkers there, so it was a group of us there. But I was able to take the train to Providence. Or I had a friend living in Connecticut, and we went to the beach in Westerly. So I know because my sister went to school in Providence, so she went to Johnson and Wales. So, but it's like most of the time I go through it to
Yeah.
go home, and it's not you're not there long.
No,
Yeah.
thank
Yeah.
God.
Yes. Yeah. If Toyman's listening, he's going to listen to us.
He's not gonna
Yeah.
listen.
No, he would, but if he does, he catches us. I'm trying to think if anybody else from Rhode Island. Yeah, because it's an interesting state because if you're in Massachusetts, there are a lot of things that are like they have a lot of laws that are the same. Like if you practice law in Massachusetts, you can practice law in Rhode Island. I think it's a lot of that kind of stuff. but then it's I guess that there are like Providence is still kind of its own place, but it's for most people listening, like especially if you're in the United States and you're like other part, like you're in the western parts of the country, the concept of Rhode Island is probably it probably doesn't make a lot of sense. Probably Delaware also, right? Like these
Right.
tiny states that are like the size of counties in other states. Yeah, I mean, it would be interesting to know like how many counties in the U.S. are bigger than Rhode Island, but I feel like there's got to be a good amount.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah, I mean, you go to Colorado. I mean, how many Rhode Islands can you fit in Colorado? And that's in Colorado's not even our biggest state, but I imagine you could fit a lot of Rhode Islands, and there are a lot of Delawares too.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, it's America the way we laid out with all the states here. I'm kind of we're kind of finishing up here, but it's like I don't know why we have two Dakotas, but by the same token, like we probably could combine a lot of these Northeast states together too.
Yeah, yeah. There's why are there two Dakotas? And yeah, you could just have it could just be called New England. You
Yeah,
just yeah, you just merge them all together.
yeah. I think that would work, and I think like New Jersey, half of it could be Pennsylvania, the other half could be New York. I think that would work fine too, but instead it's its own thing.
Take that, New Jersey. You also must have pissed off the direct-to-video connoisseur, much like a person commenting on a YouTube song.
Right.
Anyone here in New Jersey in 2026? Well, if you are, chances are Matt doesn't want you.
Now, I will be frank. I'm a fan of New Jersey.
Oh, you're Frank. I thought I was
I'll be
talking to
frank.
Matt.
No, no, New Jersey's not. I mean, one of the differences, actually, one of the things about New Jersey is that weed is legal in New Jersey, but it's not in Pennsylvania. So
Ah,
there are things about New Jersey that and I guess it would be interesting if New Jersey, like the southern half became Pennsylvania, because then that would mean Pennsylvania is on the ocean, and so I don't know how Pennsylvanians would feel about that. I feel like they need the fact that they have to go to New Jersey to go to the ocean.
okay. See,
Yeah.
I didn't even know New Jersey was a thing until The Sopranos. So,
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting because it's sort of like this like the top half is like the New York half and the bottom half is the Pennsylvania or the Philadelphia half. But then there are these like, like if you go there's like areas that are kind of just their own thing, like the Pine Barrens and there's
oh yeah.
yeah. You remember that episode, right, in The
Oh,
Sopranos?
you better believe it. One of the
Yeah.
all-time episodes. Yeah.
Yeah. So and like you go to a New Jersey Devils game and there's like a real sense of New Jersey like statehood there, that it's like okay, the rest of the time we got to root for New York teams or Philadelphia teams, but right now we're going to root for the Devils. That's our team. So yeah, maybe I was a little hard on New Jersey, maybe, I should be lumping New Jersey in with Delaware and Rhode Island. So
Yeah,
that's
there you go.
yeah, it's not
He's walking it back,
no.
everybody. Everybody
It
at the Garden State.
Right. It is the most
We love
densely
you.
right, exactly. It is the most densely populated state
Are
in
you
the
calling
US.
those people stupid? Is that what you just said?
Which one?
New
No,
Jersey.
oh, you're
You just said they
it's
were
densely
dense.
populated. No, no,
I thought we had fixed the problem, and then you go right turn around and call these people stupid.
they're densely populated. Yes, yeah. No, it's like I ride New Jersey Transit a good amount, so I'm in the New Jersey area a lot. So it's an area that I'm more familiar with than I used to be. I think if you told me when I was growing up in Maine that I would know New Jersey as well as I do now, and I don't even know it that well, but I know it more. Yeah, I know I wouldn't believe you. I'd be like, oh, really? I'm gonna have a connection with New Jersey. But when we were growing up, you'd see like the light blue plates, the light blue New Jersey plates that say the Garden State, and you're like, I didn't know there were gardens in New Jersey, but they do. They grow tomatoes and stuff.
There you go.
Yeah.
That qualifies as a garden.
Right.
So you don't. But you know what? And again, if you, I shouldn't want to discriminate for a job, but you're not going to want to hire a blind, crippled person to work in your garden.
Right. No, no. Like in this movie, that should have been the tip off for
Right? He should have been like,
Golden
"What?
Dragon.
How can you look after anything, you
Yeah.
bastard?"
Yeah. And the next thing he should have said was, okay, he can't look at the garden. He can't look after a garden because he's blind. Let me check his shoes.
Right.
And then he would have seen the spikes. Now, granted, he probably would have been kicked in the process and he might have gotten
Yeah.
stabbed or whatever, but at least he would have known who he was up against.
Now, how's he getting down on to do gardening?
Yeah.
I was doing gardening. I was weeding. I was doing all sorts of things.
Yeah.
This today, uh, if I was in a wheelchair, I unfortunately would not be able to do that.
Do they have tools for that? Is that maybe what it is?
Yeah, I guess you'd have tools. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
you could do it,
Yeah.
but I don't, come on.
You'd have to do it by smell, and then you'd have to have like these tools that you can
Right.
sort of,
You don't know where you're right.
yeah.
I just don't think it's a good job for that person with those challenges.
Yeah. Well, and I think that shows you, that should have been the tip off that he was faking because, if you're pretending to be blind, you don't really think of that kind of
There
thing.
is there is something now that we're bringing up this faker
Right.
that we didn't mention. It's like, so he does that. He has a little spot with him, like, whatever. Dragonly has now walked away.
Yeah.
He's gone. He's gone, and he's still putting up the act. Like, for what? For us?
Right.
Oh, he's gonna regret coming
Right.
here.
Right.
What? Who are you doing that for? Your own Ben? You're so method that you. What are you doing? You phony baloney cop. That's really the big boss, who's so willing to possibly give away his prize cat, or maybe you had an army of them. We still don't know that either. We don't know that or what happened to fucking Silver Snake.
No, no, and I feel like this is all Godfrey Ho's doing. Like, I wonder if that scene with him saying like, "Oh boy, you're going to regret it," if that was supposed to be a scene with Golden Dragon, where he's telling Golden Dragon that,
Mm,
but Golden Dragon had already walked away, and he's like, "Well, I'm still going to use the scene. I
yeah.
shot it. I'm going to put it in the movie." Um, and I think the Silver Snake thing is definitely one of those things where he just, um,
Yeah. Did he have to go to another movie or something? What happened?
yeah, that's what I think happened. I think it was just like he's got something else to do. Like production ran long or something. I don't know.
Was that a DeLorean that I didn't notice? And did he travel in it? What happened?
And I wonder too if the shooting went over, right? Because there's this again the scene where the uncle and Julian get kidnapped by the baddies. It's this really bad version of Day for Night where some points they do a good job of making it look like night, but other points it just doesn't seem like they care.
Right.
And
And then
so
yeah, and those guys had the stockings over their face,
yeah,
even though they were wearing the exact same clothes that they had the
right,
first 18 times that they came to this farm. Like, all right,
right,
I know your leather jacket, dude.
right, right. Well, because I mean, like, was that the thing that made them not have proof? Well, we couldn't recognize them with the stockings on their face, so like
Anybody could have that jacket, so you can't say that it was that guy for sure.
yeah. And to your question, I mean, Johnny Chan, he did three movies. He did this in '79, and then another movie in '81. So he had 2 years. So it might not have been a movie. Maybe he had,
Maybe he had to deliver milk. Maybe he was an
right.
actual milkman.
Right. It's like, listen, I can only shoot this scene for so long today before I got to go deliver my milk. And he's like, that's probably what Godfrey Ho called him, milk. What is that? The
That
bastard milk,
bastard milkman. I gotta change my whole filming schedule.
bastard milkman. He won't even finish this damn scene because he's got to deliver. It's like you can't get somebody to deliver the milk for you. And it's like, I guess not. I guess that's it. We gotta. And to be fair, if I'm a dairy company and I'm expecting Johnny Chan to deliver milk for me, I mean, I don't want the milk just sitting there. He,
Oh, that'd
somebody's,
spoil. Yeah.
yeah. So, I mean, I don't care. I'm sorry, Godfrey Ho, you're making a movie, but this is, he's got a commitment. He made a commitment to us that he would deliver this milk, and we're expecting it to be delivered.
Yeah, or maybe he just remembered that his Baker electric vehicle shirt was in the dryer and he didn't want it to shrink because he needs to wear it all
That,
week.
that's a good point. Yeah, because nowadays with the whole pre-shrunk cotton or with like the mix of cotton and other fabrics, other synthetic fabrics or whatever, you don't get the kind of the shirt just kind of completely shrinking. I can remember as a kid, like you'd have to buy a shirt a size bigger
Mm-hmm.
to deal with that shrinkage, lack of a better term. And yeah, if you're Silver Snake, I mean, you only have one shirt, really. And I mean, if that thing turns into a crop shirt, a crop top because you
Right.
let it shrink, you're out of luck.
Right. And all that
Yeah.
milk you're drinking, you're not going to have a six pack of abs to show off with that crop top shirt. So,
Right, right. That's the scene that Godfrey Ho didn't shoot was,
mm.
him, you get to see him like go. Yeah, I love I was just thinking about the voiceover actor doing the what happened? What? And, then it was like the sounds and like the wacky sounds too of him like pulling this like shirt looks like a baby shirt out of the dryer. Um,
That's one thing I wish we had like we had studio footage of the people doing the voiceover. Like
right.
nowadays, you get that all the time with these, especially when it's these big time stars doing these
Oh yeah.
animated movies. So there's like footage of them doing. I would have loved to just seen like uh just them doing this. Oh, a bastard.
Right, right. Let me tell you one thing before I go. It's like, yeah, yeah. God, yeah, because you had the Bogart guy, but you also had like I think the baddies, like the big baddies, had English accents as well.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure a lot of this was either done in like Australia or
that's right.
or in England when they would do these voiceovers. So you'd get those accents.
Yeah, yeah. It was always a mix of like, because obviously, Chinese is not an easy language to directly translate into English because the terms are used different ways and so it is always kind of funny how the decisions they make on how to translate things and yeah there was one I can't remember there were some lines in this movie that I can't think of now off the top of my head where it was like I should have probably written them down where you know you just be like, yeah, I can't think of it off but it's just, like the way that things would be phrased in these movies. And I guess these voice actors, they just read it as it was. They didn't like, okay, that's not really a natural way to say that. What if we reword that in a different way? They just, nope, nope. You give me the lines, I'll read them.
Yeah, I mean that fascinates me. And just again, by doing this, counting the bastards, it's like, what made them decide this time that they were going to have that many bastards in it? Or sometimes they put a son of a bitch. What? How did that? What? What thoughts went into making this? What? How does this happen? How does
Right.
this happen? It's fascinating to me.
Yeah, there's a lot about these movies that, I know there are probably some film historians that have like looked into them more to like study aspects of them more or understand them more. But, like when you get to like this level, like the Godfrey Ho level, this isn't like a Shaw Brothers movie where there's probably a good amount of information that you could get to at least get some picture about how they worked. I mean, with these Godfrey Ho movies, I mean, even like tracking down the actors in them would be difficult.
Mm-hmm.
And so just be able to get like firsthand accounts of how a movie like this be made, it would be so difficult that we're just kind of left with these mysteries about them.
And you know what? Maybe that's for the best because we
Yeah.
could just make up our own history, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Like you and you're talking about, you know, Golden Dragon, Silver Snake being the inspiration for things of the future.
Right, right, exactly. It's that Kevin Feige watched this and was inspired for Civil War.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we can't prove that he hasn't yet. I guess you could ask him.
Yeah,
Uh,
and would he admit it though?
that's true. You're right. See, you could always play that. Well, of course, he's not going to say that.
Right.
He's going
Yeah.
to be like, no, that was my own original. I'm a genius.
Right. Exactly. No one wants to admit that. Yeah.
Right. Right.
Yeah, we were watching. My wife and I were watching the Earth, Wind, and Fire documentary, and Stevie Wonder said that he got the inspiration for "I Wish," I think from not "Way of the World." Oh, there's another big one. I can't think of it off the top. Earth, Wind, and Fire. But they like he just heard and the Questlove was interviewing. Was like, wait, you wrote "I Wish" based off of an Earth, Wind, and Fire song? He's like, yeah, yeah. And so if you're Stevie Wonder, I guess you can admit it. But if you're Kevin Feige, maybe not so much. And I guess it's different when you're saying, oh, an Earth, Wind, and Fire song that was like a huge hit inspired you to write something as opposed to, you know, Golden Dragon, Silver Snake.
I wonder who inspired Skilo to write I Wish.
Right? Yes.
That's my big wonder.
Yes. Yeah, the only other song I know by Skee-Lo was when he was part of the Schoolhouse Rocks uh, album, and he did Mr. Morton is the subject of my sentence.
Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I only know and I actually have the CD, so I should know more, but I think I just listened to the two different versions of I Wish over and over again.
That's right. Yes. Yeah,
And
that was one of the things we forget. We always blame Napster for like the death of the CD and music sharing and everything like that. But the other thing was like in the 90s, the industry got away from doing singles. And it was
yeah,
like if you really liked one song off an album, you had to buy the whole album. And
yep.
it was kind of one of those things where Napster was had kind of created a piece of the market that the music industry didn't want to admit that because they had tried to get away from us buying singles, that Napster kind of came in and filled that void.
Yeah, I mean, like I probably listened to it once through, just like, oh, let's see if there's anything else. But it probably like, nah. I'm
Yeah,
going to listen to there's two different versions, which probably also helped me justify it. Like, well, it's not just for one song. There's two different versions of it.
right, right, exactly.
I mean, I'm sure it's completely different. But yeah, Skee-Lo. I still listen to that one. Who's still listening to Skee-Lo in
Right,
2026?
right, who's here?
This guy right here.
Right. Who's here in 20? There's gotta be who's here in 2026 for that
Oh
song.
yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah. It's funny. I was my niece was I don't know if she still is, but she went through a period where she was into gangster rap. And so I was going through my CDs in my parents' house. I have like a bin of CDs, and I pulled out some of the gangster rap ones for her. But I saw like how many alternative songs where it was like I saw the one song on 120 minutes and bought the album because I really liked that song and didn't listen to any other songs on that album.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, it was amazing how many of those there were. It was like,
And that's
um,
the other thing with the CD. You could like easily just hit the number. You didn't have to like a tape where you'd have to be like, oh, let me rewind it.
yeah,
Like, no, it's track three. You just keep listening to track three.
yeah. It was, and that was like yeah. And or then what I would do is make mix CDs. That was the other thing
Right.
too.
Of
Yeah,
course. Yeah. Then you could
yeah,
just put all the one songs from the things all on one CD.
right. Exactly, exactly. I mean, I was like the ones that I had like Poe. Remember Poe, Angry Johnny? Um, and I don't think I had another. There was another song on that album that I liked. I just did angry, or Primitive Radio Gods. They had like a song that had like this big long title. It was like something like standing in the phone booth
Yeah.
or yeah,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
yeah. And I
That
was
was
like,
a
oh
gimmick. Yep.
yeah, and I was like, okay, I like that song. I'll buy the album. I mean, the other thing too. Now I make it sound like I was like blowing, $20 a pop to get these one songs. There was also the Columbia House effect where it was like, okay, I'm gonna get, 15 songs for a quarter and then just not get the rest of the CDs that I'm supposed to get for the rest of the time.
Naturally.
Yeah.
What a
Yeah.
scam. How did they
Yeah.
stay in business so long?
Right, exactly. Yeah, I there must have been like one person because it was like one of my friends. I remember when an older kid, a guy grew up around the corner, was like a few years older, who said, they're not going to take you to court over because it's not worth it for them to take you to court. I was like, really? Huh? And so then it was just like using different names to get, and it's like, I was like, okay, yeah, that's it. I'm gonna get my, and then movies, they had the movie version too. So it's like, I think that's how I got Gone with the Wind was that through that. So yeah,
Did you think you'd hear Gone with the Wind on a Golden Dragon Silver Snake podcast? I bet you didn't.
no, exactly, exactly. No, you got a classic TV commentary on different states, the whether states should exist or not, and yeah, Gone with the Wind mentioned. Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, I guess maybe at this stage, Chris, anything else about Golden Dragon Silver Snake that we didn't mention?
No, I think we now have covered everything, and then some. So again, you can check this out, folks. It's on the Wu Tang channel on YouTube.
Yeah, it's worth checking out. You know, it's a good deal. It's worth I think it's worth seeing. There are not many better ways that you can spend 90 minutes that, it's low energy, you relax and have a good time with something like this.
Absolutely. And Six Bastards, not too bad.
No, no, no. Especially the early going, it seemed like we were gonna break
Oh yeah, I
records,
was like,
but
here we go. We're getting double digit. No, then it stopped. And then again, when you get to that big action finale, the dialogue becomes few and far between.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And it's a great finale. There's just so many great moments in that too as well. So it delivers on that score too. Well, Chris, as we're wrapping up, anything that you wanted to plug?
Well, of course, everyone could check out bulletproofaction.com and you'll see all the various links to our social media. You'll find the Bulletproof podcast there. And yeah, that's about it. That's where I'm
Yeah,
at. That's where I'm at most of the time when I'm not over here.
exactly. Yeah, the podcast is such a great, we always joke about like what commercials we got. Now I can't remember the commercials that I got for
This
this.
week I didn't have any when I checked it. There was none. So and that happens from time to time.
Yeah, I want to say that they had to do with something to do with the World Cup, and I can't remember what it was, but it was like they were like tie-ins. They were I think it was like maybe it was Verizon tie-in for the World Cup or something. It was
Yeah,
something like
could
that.
be. There you
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
See, and maybe because you are always talking about the World Cup, it knew that you wanted to hear a World Cup commercial.
That could be, yes, that could be what it was. Yeah. Yeah, it's always I mean, it seems like it's Verizon most of the time anyway. It seems like
Yeah.
that's a big, they're a big contributor to the to the ads that you get on your podcast.
Yeah, because I feel like I get a lot of Indeed
Oh, yes.
ads, but it's because I'm on Indeed quite a
Right.
bit lately. So, maybe that's it. No, these things know. They're
Yeah.
spying on us.
Well, I get those too. I get the Indeed ones as well. So yeah, yeah. But that's always part of the joke. It's like, what are the ads you get before? Now we'll say if you listen to the Bulletproof podcast, you only get those ads at the very beginning. There's no ad
Right.
breaks
No, nothing
throughout.
in the,
So
yeah. And if you stick around to the end, they might tax them at the end, but who the hell's
yeah,
sticking around to the end? Like if once the end music plays, I hope you're listening to the whole thing, but yeah,
yeah,
why would you be like, oh, let me wait and see what the ad is at the end?
right. Exactly. Yeah, that's good. I didn't even think of that because you're right. Yeah, I listen to the music at the end, and that's once I hear the music kick in.
Yeah, you can shut it off. Yeah.
Right. We're done. Yeah, because at that point, Ryan and Toyman have told me what they've got coming on the Bulletproof site, and so I know what to look for. You've teased the next episode, and I'm ready to ready to move on.
That's right. We just follow a formula over there, folks. Just blop, blop, blop. See you next week. Until next time. Or wait. As always, stay tuned for more of the Bulletproof. Yeah, I say that, and then the music hits.
That's exactly
It's
yeah,
like
but
it's like the double beeps, and then we're out.
right, exactly. Yeah, the double beeps. Exactly. Call it back. Yeah. Yeah, because I think, like what we've talked about, I know we're kind of going over here on time, but I think
Oh
what
yeah, keep on. We're almost to the next day. Go on.
right, exactly what I was gonna say quickly. We talk about, the movie getting the bulletproof treatment and
Yeah,
and there's movies that you guys cover. I think the most recent one was Street Night. That I was just like, oh
we
yeah,
were excited.
this one's got to get. When you teased that one at the end of the previous episode, I think it was Mortal Kombat. I think, right? Mortal Kombat
I
2.
believe so. Yep.
Yeah. And so then you tease Street. I was like, oh man, we got Street Night next. And it delivered. It's like, uh, you know, for a movie like that, especially if you haven't seen it in a while, go listen to the podcast. It deserved the bulletproof treatment, and you guys delivered on it.
Well, I appreciate your kind words, and yeah, you could see what else. Maybe see what we gave the bulletproof treatment. Maybe see if I need some sort of treatment. If you listen to enough episodes.
No, but it's a yeah. I mean, well, I feel like your show, it's a much cleaner. You guys get in and get out. You get the movie done. My podcast is probably the one where people probably look at it and be like, Matt, where
Yeah, I still haven't finished the urban justice one. I think I still have about an hour left to that.
Right. Yeah.
Now, I
I
haven't even tackled the one after. What was the? What did you do after that? What's this week's?
Oh, it's the Minion.
Minion,
The
right? I
Minion.
haven't
Yes.
even scratched the surface of the Minion yet,
No.
so I got to still finish up.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll
No.
finish that up tomorrow when I'm working on my Aces Iron Eagle 3 notes.
Right. Yeah. No, it seems like people who have long commutes to work, they are big fans of the podcast because they
Yeah.
can
Oh
just
yeah.
put it on and just go. And then, by the time you're there at work, you've gone through most of it and then listen to the rest of it, when you're stuck in traffic on the way home. And so, but yeah, I think a lot of people are in your boat. A lot of people tell me like, yeah, and it's one of those things where it's like, I'll get these spikes in, uh, in downloads and streams. And I think it's what it is it's people catching up. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, people have like a dedicated time and they'll just listen to like 3 episodes in a row or something like that. And so, if you're the DMV, we're a good DMV podcast. If you're getting your oil changed or your car worked on, I think, we're good. If you go to the emergency room, I know here in Philadelphia, the last time I had to go, I think I waited 5 hours. Um,
Mm.
yeah, we're a good emergency room podcast as well. So yeah, we were anytime a long wait, you have any kind of long wait, yeah, plot, put us on your phone, put in your
Light
headphones.
layover. You got a
Yeah.
layover. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
oh the layover, yeah, or the delay, you don't
Yeah.
know when your plane's gonna get out and you're angry, I understandably angry with the airline. Put us on, we'll kind of assuage a little bit of that anger. You might feel a little bit better. You're still going to be angry, but you're not going to be as angry, hopefully. Yeah, unless you're from New Jersey and you heard us saying
Oh,
things about New Jersey.
please.
Yeah,
Yes. Those poor people there.
exactly, exactly. Well, maybe we'll wrap it here. But thank you again, Chris, for coming on. This was a ton of fun.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And thank you everybody for listening. Hopefully your wait at the DMV or the emergency room is not going so badly, but hopefully we'll have you get back again here soon. But talk soon, everybody. Bye.